Hi, how's it going? I'm just going to try and finish this this vase a little bit today. It's rather strong wood. A little bit of resin that I put in there is still holding up quite well, so I'm pretty happy about that.
Good.
Just got to try and finish up the edge on here a little bit, make it smoother, and then just finish up the inside of this a little bit. Only do about an inch in at a time. Just go an inch, finish that. Go down an inch, finish that.
There's no body in there. No guts.
Yeah, it did just move.
No, there's no guts in there. Look.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Hello, Amber.
Hello, Sarge. How are you?
Good. What the heck? Oh, spider.
Yeah, that's the shell, the leftover.
We caught it just as it finished coming out of it.
That's a baby huntsman. Not really that big.
Right.
There's get geckos in the wood. They normally get to about like 3 inches maybe at the most, and they're always in the wood. When we pick a piece of wood out or something, and the huntsmans like to eat them.
Huh.
Bloody savages.
Yeah.
And yesterday I went down as far as I want to go. I haven't actually made the walls this thin all the way down. Only for the sheer fact that you're actually meant to only do an inch at a time. Get this where you want it, and then get the next one where you want it, and so on until you get down to the bottom of the container. But I'll just rough it here a little bit, try and get it smooth, and then try and finish off down there, because if I get the tool caught up here somewhere, like when I'm doing right down deep into it, then I'm going to stuff up my nice finish. So I'll make a rough finish there first. How you going, Bob?
Good. Just he caught me outside today because I had to get some work done.
Okay.
Howdy, Dr. Bob.
You caught me asleep. I was asleep and my phone's on silent.
Uh-oh.
That was all right. I didn't hear it, but
yeah, I had that program yesterday about my deep hollowing rig.
Yep.
And I've got a ton of email from that. But I wanted to finish the piece that I had at the time on the lathe, so I'm in here. That's what I'm up doing today.
Okay. What's the wood?
It's actually a vine.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to see what I'm doing, I got a camera that'll show you that.
Yeah, sure.
But I'll have to log in as it, Bill.
Yeah. This is the name of my live today.
Clearance.
Nah. Flowers. There's an angel wing begonia.
Nice.
Ah. Back to when you were a kid, that's what your mother called you?
A what?
Your mother, she called you an angel?
No, maybe my nana. No, it's a rather expensive plant here. real hard to find and very expensive when you do find it. And ours is a monster.
Okay, let me kill one camera here. 1, 2. Let me fix that. Sorry about that. Move some lights out of the way.
I muted the other camera so it didn't echo so much.
Yeah, I just turned it off here
Okay.
too.
How you going, Mike? Center stage, Bob. Yeah, it's long.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me get the tablet out of the way here. I got a new rig that a friend of mine suggested, and I can my tablet from my dust extractor.
Works good, does it?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
quite pleased, and 'cause it holds a 10-inch tablet.
Oh yeah.
And what I'm up to is I already hollowed this, and this is end to end. It's four. Let's see. I've got a metric. My rule is both. Let's see. That's 30. Was it 39 or 30? Yeah, 39 millimeters. If I got it right. Because this is only this only reads to 30, so it's longer than this. But it's not hollowed to it. It's hollowed to 28 or yeah, 28 because I needed some weight in the bottom to keep it from falling over.
Yep. Okay.
And the wood, I think, is fantastic on it. Try to get the glare off of it. Yeah, it doesn't help. So that's what I'm up to, and I wanted to get this done because and sanded, and I still have my steady rest on it because it's so long and it's thin. And if I don't, I can get it, it'll vibrate. And I've had them, when you get them thin and they vibrate, they can actually crack on you. So I'm just running through the grits. I got a bit of a skip inside that while I was demonstrating the other day, I got a catch inside. And it's not much, but I wanted to get rid of it, and I got to take care of this front edge because I haven't done anything. The reason being is often when I'm working with this, I'll bring my tailstock up after I hollow it out, and I want to make it thinner because I make my stuff thinner a little different than most people. In this case, I hollowed it, and then, well, I had the diameter I wanted, the wall thickness, but once I got it done, and when you're way down at the end here and you're on let's see, that's the length of the bar I use when I hollow. It's, let me get on this side. You got to remember where the camera is here. The hollowing bar is about 3 foot long from end to end to where the tool fits. And I have a device that this goes through and holds it so it won't flip and roll. But I got the inside done, and then I try to get the outside for the final thickness because I can do that through sanding.
Okay.
Maybe it's cheating, but I can hit it with some 80 grit and do the final outside to the shape I want. Like I want a little bit of a curve here, bottleneck piece. And that's why I've been waiting to do that because I got plenty of room to do it inside. And I got one slight catch that I almost got out of it. But, and then the last thing I'll do is sand and take care of the very top because that takes the most beating when I'm working on it.
Does it split very easily?
Yes. This has right here.
Yep.
But because of the way the wood is, if I hadn't told anybody, they wouldn't have guessed it unless they were really looking for it. You know, a turner would notice it,
Yes.
but the person it's going to as a gift wouldn't notice it at all because everything else in the grain stands out. And when I'm done,
Jeff?
Hello there.
Howdy, Jeff.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Doing good. No complaints.
That's good. Just checking out what Bob's doing on the lathe today. Something a bit different.
Okay. I saw Jay worked on that vase again last night.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and attack again today.
Oh, did it come off the chuck again?
No, I put it back in the anyway, I've lengthened the tenon.
Ah, okay.
That's all it was. It was just too short.
Yeah.
You know, I think I had mentioned that the first couple times that chunked out. Asked you if that tenon was long enough for it.
There's actually three pieces that did that to me all in 2 days, Sarge. So it might have been a different piece. Same wood, but a different piece.
No, the one that you put the jewels and stuff in it.
Yep.
Yeah, that's the one I asked you about.
Yeah.
But it's all good.
I'll let you off, right?
I tend to, with any of my hollow forms, I don't use the regular jaws. I use the really wide mouth jaws on them. And so I get a really hefty a really hefty tenon on it. And since I started doing that, I've not had any break-offs or tear-offs or anything.
Yeah, I've only got one chuck and one set of jaws, so
yeah, you're kind of stuck there.
Sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what type of chuck do you have?
Nova. This one's got 30 years Nova written on it, so that's all it's got written on it.
Oh, it's their anniversary issue.
Yeah.
I think that's their anniversary issue. It's
Yeah.
it's no different than the other one. I think what they did is they released it as an anniversary with the full set of jaws.
Yep.
At least over here in the on the USA, they did that.
Looks
Okay.
like it.
Yeah. That's what I got when I first bought my lathe.
Okay.
Do you know who had the chuck before you? Or
Sorry?
did you buy it new?
I'll
Did you
put it-
buy the truck new?
Yeah.
So the people you bought it from then kept the freebie jaws. You ought to find out if they want to sell them to you.
Oh, no. No, I got the jaws with it.
Oh, I thought you said you had one set of jaws.
Yeah. Maybe it was different in Australia.
Well, companies do that. That might have been an American thing only.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, generally, if this place has got sells stuff that's got freebies, you normally get it with it.
Mm-hmm. I posted a picture out on the club's website or Facebook page today of the new Longworth chuck I got. We actually, one of our club members made it on a CNC. It's just a beautiful piece of equipment. And I went out and got the buttons for it and all the hardware and everything and assembled it today and put it on the lathe.
Oh, nice. How you going, Doc?
Yeah, many times I've thought of getting one. Though every time I do, I keep thinking, well, my vacuum chuck has done me well.
Yeah.
And I've seen stuff come off a Longworth. We used to have one at the tech shop. I used it a few times. The bolts weren't long enough. It was Brown's. And we ended up putting different rubber on it. It was when they first was making them. Ron Brown.
Yeah.
Hester Brown.
Yeah. They well, the buttons I got for mine are 1 inch long, and they're tapered. They're tapered in. They taper in, and they're rubbery, so they get a good hold. Whereas on a lot of the Longworth chucks out there on the market have the small buttons on them, like you get almost on cold jaws.
Yeah,
and that's not good. But I still think too, when you're using a Longworth chuck, you got to obey the same rules as you do with cold jaws. You can't turn over 600 RPM.
Yeah.
And you just got to be safe about it.
How you going, Robbo?
G'day, I won't be in for long. I'm still working on this truck. Oh no, got about a week's work to go on it.
Oh wow.
Well, sounds like good money.
It is. Right. G'day, Sarge. G'day, Doc. G'day, Mike. Sorry if anybody else that's there that I've missed.
Well, it's good seeing you again, Robbo. We didn't see you last week, so.
No.
Oh, look who comes in now that Robbo's here. No, I'm not letting you in now. You can stay in the background. How you going, Chris? How you going, Doc? Only comes in when Robbo's in.
Sorry. Did I miss a meeting, did I, Jeff?
No.
Oh, that's all right.
No, next meeting's the 21st.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah. No, we just had our board meeting last night. So.
Oh, well, I don't want to get involved in that bugger.
No, you don't want to be there for that. We have a lot of fun, though.
Are we going to have a workshop this month?
Yes. It's going to be on sanding, just what you're doing now.
Oh, but what date is that?
It's always a Saturday after our meeting.
After
So
the meeting. Okay.
That'll be like the 27th, I think.
Yep.
Don't get me wrong, but sanding puts me to sleep. So you don't mind if I bring a pillow, do you?
Not at all.
Can I ask a question?
Just don't snore, and if you snore, mute your mic.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be touching bases? Are you gonna be touching bases on the benefits of using the 8 grit?
I don't know. Alfred Chambry is going to be running it.
You'll just.
And like I said, up until last week, up until we got together last week, I didn't know there was such a thing as 8 grit sandpaper. Though the most I'd ever seen was 30.
Dark's just being a shithead, Jeff.
Oh, well, listen, I came across a listing the other day for 2 grit.
Yeah.
Really?
Which has got to be like 2 stones on a piece of paper.
No, you pick up 2 rocks.
Yeah. Find the jagged ones in somebody's driveway. Yeah.
I had 16 grit paper there for a while. That was off a floor sander.
Oh, yeah. Those are normally like 15 grit, aren't they?
Yeah, they're around that for the first initial sanding.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did years ago. My brother's a Methodist minister, retired now, but he had a church. He liked old ones, and he did one in Jackson, and they had problems with a floor. Now, the church was built before the Civil War. The section that he wanted some help with was fixing the floors, and they were Michigan cherry, which looked really nice, except it hadn't been touched in 60, 70 years, according to what they were able to find in old bulletins when they had a group sand it. And then it was sanded by hand because they didn't have an electric sander that they could get. And they had pictures of people with the sanding stuff on their boots, and
yeah,
it wasn't level. So we went in with commercial sanding, 2 big machines, and I just couldn't believe it. It took us 4 days to do a 10 by 20 room, and we had to start off with 16 grit. The wood was so old and hard, and but boy, when we got it down with 120 is where we took it to, and then put an oil finish on it so it would soak in, because we took off quite a bit to level it. The floor wasn't level. You could put a rubber ball on it and watch which way it went, and it went in dips up and down. So we did what we could for that, because it was an area that was being used for a nursery and play area for young kids. Put the kids in there and they can have fun while you're in church. And we wanted to make sure that if they were playing with balls and stuff, they wouldn't all end up in one corner.
Wow.
And we lifted a couple of the boards to see what it was under it, and it was all 4x4. Let's say this is the Civil War in all Michigan hardwood.
Yeah.
They had about 3 foot between floors, and that's because they were running at that time heating pipes through the church, just as dangerous as can be, because it was chimney flue. Went up, went across, up in the chimney, and that's what heated the floor, the second floor, and the ceiling of the first floor.
Interesting.
But they hadn't used it in years, but that's what we found when we took pieces up to see.
Yeah.
We got thinking, this is neat. Take it to a sawmill and take an inch or 2 off the wood, and we'll still have a good floor.
That's the thing. And back in those days, those 4x4s, the trees went to the sawmill, and they went right from the sawmill to the building, and were put in wet. Yep. It's amazing.
And I like 4x4s and 6x4s because you get the measurements right on those, not 2x4s where you get the measurements mucked up.
Yeah, dimensionalized.
Yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Because they're 4x2s.
they're in another dimension. So,
Well, Robo, you caught me in my shop because I worked on this part of today, and that was part of the demo I put together for the Europeans.
They're not Europeans, they're English. English.
Okay, English. I thought they were from Europe.
No, they don't belong to the EU anymore.
No,
Oh,
they don't.
you're
They-
talking about political connections,
That's right.
not geographic.
Didn't somebody else pull out of that too?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Well, the problem is Ireland didn't, and that poses a problem,
Yeah.
So now you got to have passports to go and stations and all this between the countries.
Yeah. Oh, I thought
And-
Greece pulled out of them too.
Some of the people that live there, it's like it goes right through their house. The old boundaries, because they didn't worry about it, and so now you pay taxes to both countries.
Oh wow.
But the joke's been, what do you need? You need to make sure you have your passport to go to the bathroom. And then the comment is, well, you're urinating on the other country. We should let us go for free. But there's a ton of jokes I hear about that. So, it's all in good fun. But they haven't put passport stations in. They haven't done any of that because nobody wants to do it. It was just a movement of the government. But they have these types of currency now.
Yeah. So that's going to be nice and confusing.
Yes.
Let's just be honest. It was confusing before.
Yeah.
Well, they were metric. But you always had like a half crown in the old system. Not anymore, but World War II, they still had the crown, the half crown, the shillings.
Talking all Greek to me there, Bob.
No, it's just part of our the old history. In the 60s, 69 it was, I was on temporary duty in Britain. 69, 70, spent Christmas there. In downtown London. Doing some training.
My
And I
wife
never
actually, did a semester at Cambridge
Oh, highfalutin.
back in the late 70s. Yeah.
I'll tell you, I got a sneaky trick I always have done because I'm cheap. I take typically a chunk of wood and put a slit in it. And this is how my great grandfather taught me to sand. And then you simply wrap the sandpaper around it and you can go inside what you're doing.
Yeah. Actually, I've seen a couple guys on YouTube where they did that with a piece of dowel in their drill, so they could go the full length and have the
Yep.
drill spinning too.
Yep,
Yeah,
right there.
that's what I do. But you've wound the paper on the wrong way round, Bob. It's undoing instead of doing up.
I know, but I just stuck it in there for a few minutes to demonstrate.
Yeah, that's something I would have to think about as I'm setting it up. Which way is it going? I was doing a thing the other day with using my buffing wheel on a drill with the piece still on the lathe. just as an experiment because I saw a guy over in Coldwater, Michigan do that. And so I'm going along, and it's not really making a difference until I started looking at what I was doing, and I had to reverse the lathe because I was basically running in the same direction as the piece was turning, so I wasn't really buffing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's even worse when you front up to a demonstration and you got the timber spinning and you're busy yakking. You put the timber on and it's not taking any timber off. Why the hell isn't this thing cutting? You found out that some mongrel in the audience has reversed the lathe on you.
Yeah. The other
People
thing
don't do that, do they?
Oh, they do all sorts of things.
This is
That's-
my deep one, and I just
that-
have a little brown pad on it because I need the cushion when I use the sanding, whether it's a sheet of sandpaper or the micro mesh. And I got a lot of this because I hit it at an office about 5 years ago.
Yeah, the
so
strange.
you're just using that as a cushion then.
Right, that's just a cushion.
Okay.
The strange voice, Mike, is Jeff Walters, the president of the DAW, the Detroit Area Wood Turners. Okay.
Hello, Mike.
I don't know if it's a strange voice. It's a stranger.
Well, it's strange. I'll admit to that.
He's been in here with us before, right?
Yeah, a few times. I try to get in on Wednesdays. That's when my schedule permits.
God, that's like loading a cannon, Bob.
Yeah. And no one is going to feel down there, and I admit that.
Reminds me of an old girlfriend.
Well, we've had a couple guys in the club say that. You only got to go as far as you can see. To me, as the person creating it, I would rather have it as perfect as possible. So
yeah,
I would
like that too. I don't care if people are going to see it or not. If I can get to it, it'll bother me if I don't do it.
Exactly, and then I won't
John.
feel right about charging for it.
Right.
G'day, John.
Like you're doing half-ass job.
Yeah.
How you going, John?
All
Hey,
right,
guys.
I've got to go, folks. I'll catch you all later. Thank you.
Oh,
See you
great
later.
chatting with you, Robbo.
Bye,
Take
Robert.
care.
Bye.
Yep.
This is the first time I've seen the Carter Easy Rest in action.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
They're multi-rest. I've got 3 on here, but I've got the 4th one.
Oh, okay. It's unfortunately out of my price range.
Well, put it this way. I designed a tool system that they decide that they wanted to sell, and I wanted stuff that would be demonstrated with.
Mm-hmm.
So I got it for a very good price.
Oh, good. Good.
And of course, I got the deep hollowing jig too, because that's what my boring bar system is based on.
Mm-hmm. I am going to get once I get some more sales going. I'm going to get their tensioning release for the bandsaw.
Yeah.
I just hate changing my bandsaw blade. I've got my log blade in there right now, and I use it for cut pen blanks and everything because I just don't want to change it. But it cuts pen blanks really nice.
Well, I got a
I would
blade.
like to get it.
Got a blade. I'm kind of new to all of this, but I got a bandsaw and it's got a blade on there that came with it,
Mm-hmm.
and I haven't had it long. But that damn thing, I can't cut a straight line with that thing if I wanted to.
It's called drift. You got to
Yeah,
learn.
it's all right.
And a lot of times that means that the blade is dull, even though it's new.
Oh.
And there, you can Google or not Google. You can go on YouTube and find ways of sharpening it, or just get a new blade.
Yeah, if I was to get a new blade, they can't cost too much.
No, I don't think I spend more than $35 for the blade for mine, and mine it's a 105-inch blade. So
yeah, mine won't be that long.
no. Is it a bench top?
Yeah, little bench. It's a Wen bench top 9-inch bandsaw.
Oh, yeah. They probably got those bandsaw blades all over Amazon. So,
Yeah, I would imagine.
yeah.
Yeah, but be careful. Get a good name.
Yeah.
Because often all they do is stamp the blade through a machine.
Right.
They don't grind and sharpen it. They expect the metal, once it's been cut and bent, to be sharp. Well, it is, but they're not evenly sharp from one end of the tooth to the other end of the tooth. And sometimes when they do the stamping to cut the blades out, the pitch is off.
So what name brand would you recommend?
I'm an exclusive user of Timberwolf. I love Timberwolf. They're reasonably. What's that?
For his, if they don't have one, they'll make it at no extra cost.
Yeah.
If you were on this side,
they're in very good quality. Like I said, and they make one just for cutting logs, or I should say greenwood, because you need the teeth positioned in a specific way so it doesn't get hung up, and it works great. And but like I said, because it's such a pain in the butt to change my blades, I just use it for everything. But I don't do any scroll work on the bandsaw or anything fine like that either. It's mostly just cutting logs, cutting pen blanks, or cutting pieces of wood to, as I'm creating prototypes and stuff like that.
That's pretty much what I use mine for, just cutting stuff. I think the problem I was running into is I was trying to cut segments.
Mm-hmm.
And I couldn't get a straight line for nothing, man.
Yeah, segments.
I got them cut.
Segments on the bandsaw are very tricky. Very tricky. The people who have the most success with segments are usually using a table saw or a miter saw.
Right. Yeah, straight down, no give cut.
Yeah. Now, one thing too with even when you got a sharp blade, you can still get a little bit of drift. So you've got to learn how to steer into that. So you keep, your piece may look all cockeyed and not straight, but you're actually cutting right into the line you have marked. So it's sort of like resawing, where you've got to steer it to keep it in the center.
Right.
So I know that with mine, I don't have much of any drift at all. And I also make sure that I have the roller assembly no more than a 1/4 inch above the piece I'm cutting. So there's less exposed blade. And with that, I find I have to turn the piece towards the left about 25 degrees. And then I got a perfectly straight cut.
Well, my bandsaw is so small, it's pretty much useless for blanks, for bowls or anything, but it works good for pen blanks and stuff like that, and cut a small piece of timber if I need it. But
what's the width of the blade?
The width, I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
It's about the. Are you talking from the teeth to the back of the blade, or from?
Yes, teeth to the back. Mm-hmm.
About the size of a jigsaw blade. Just
1/4 inch.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, I never go under 3/8 of an inch.
Okay,
that makes a big difference.
Ones then.
1/8 inch and 1/4 inch are good for making like bandsaw boxes where you're doing precision work. But you got to really know what you're doing with those blades.
Yeah, I just want it for cutting stuff. I don't really care about making nothing precision.
Yeah.
If I want to make something precision, I'll call Dr. Bob.
There you go.
He's got prettier tools.
I wish I had the skill to carve like you do.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm not much of a carver. My neighbor is an amazing carver, and we'll work on different projects together. But I can't carve.
I guess I just got lucky with the carving thing because, like, I can do it. I've never been taught by anybody,
Right.
So.
Well, I think carving also takes an immense amount of patience, and that's something I don't necessarily have. That's why I'm in wood turning.
Well, you
rather,
just gotta you
rather
gotta
than
keep in
flatboard
mind
work.
gotta keep in mind that it's something you want to work in when you ain't doing nothing else, you know.
Yeah, yep.
And you're just sitting like if I'm sitting there watching videos, sometimes I'll sit and carve or
Yeah.
sand or something.
Oh,
You
that's
know,
my neighbor. Yeah, he sits in his chair in his living room. He's got everything set up next to it, and he just sits there and carves into it. He's got an apron that catches everything, and that's how he carves. And he'll carve half the day and half the night.
yep, that's what I do too. I've been working on this piece I'm working on now for I don't know 3-4 days, 5 days maybe since the beginning of the month. There, the first of the month when they released the TCCC 2021 challenge for this month, which was water. I could have slapped that guy.
Oh, who did I hear mention that? Oh, that was Moon Pie. Moon Pie Productions
Yeah,
talked
Ted.
about that.
Yeah, he's a good cat, man.
Yeah.
I tease him all the time because a long time ago, well, I say a long time ago, it was beginning of last year, I think. He did a video where he was having an affair behind his wife's back with a bowl.
Yeah, he's crazy. He is crazy.
Yeah, I like that about him. You know, I mean,
Well,
you got to be a little bit crazy to do YouTube.
yeah, and and quite frankly, for these videos, you got to be entertaining. I think that's very important because I talked about this last week. I love watching woodworking videos, but nothing puts me to sleep faster than woodworking videos. If
Yeah,
I'm having trouble getting to sleep at night, I just fire up the tablet, pull up a video, and usually within 15, 20 minutes, I'm passing right out. And but guys like Stuart Freeney and Nick Zametti and Moon Pie, they're entertaining. They keep me entertained, and they don't knock me out.
Yep. You were talking about this as that you'd like someday get one. The one thing I like about the version they sell now, and this was one of the prototypes, is the fact that at this fitting here, it actually locks together.
Uh-huh.
So if you want to use the big circle and a couple of wheels or the smaller one, if you're just doing something and you're pushing against something and you want support for the push, there's no need to have this. It just comes undone. And the nice part about it is the way they designed it is, see if it shows. No, they hide it. But where the stuff, where it's fastened in here, it actually is a hook. So you can pivot it off and lift it off the base. You don't have to take the bolts out. You just loosen them.
Nice.
Yeah, and I like that. And they have,
Actually-
of course, different base thicknesses for height for spindle. That's the nice thing about Carter, is that they look at that. And depending upon your spindle, you get these riser blocks to make it fit. Though I had to get a longer bolt for it because the thickness of the lathe, the bed.
Okay.
And these are nice because these adjust too. So you can take it with you to some place else where you're demonstrating and just adjust them sideways and whatever to fit your lathe.
Yeah. Cindy Yates, who made the Longworth for me, she's also designed and is going to start making steady rest with the 4 arms like that. And her design has the same thing where you can use half of it or all of it. And so I'm supposed to be getting one off her to experiment with in about 2 weeks. So, because, I don't use a steady rest now. I don't know if anybody saw the pictures I posted out on Facebook of the vase that I turned from that birch. No steady rest on that. So it's very, very light, easy cuts.
Yeah.
which, you know, I don't want to go hogging anyways into it. And but a lot of times when I'm turning the larger bowls, as the walls get thinner, I get a lot of resonation, and you know, that can destroy a bowl if it gets to be too bad.
Oh
So I
yeah.
want to have a steady rest for that and help cut down on that. Plus, when you're wearing a hearing aid, it's really deafening. Yeah.
One of the tricks I do is, because the problem is I have European chucks and tools, and I've got U.S. standard. But for all of the Carters, since their color is blue, I have a whole set of special wrenches, cheap ones,
Okay.
blue
There you
tip.
go.
That way, and they're in the drawer where all the pieces are. So
Well,
I
see,
know this fits anything that fits it, and
Yeah.
including the.
but you know what? If you would have got, if you would have got, if you would have got cobalt, they would have been blue handles.
Yeah, I don't want to pay the extra.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
I had a
very
good deal. I just say I had a very good deal on, and I still do.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
of
for
the,
the 10
I mean,
millimeter.
the hollowing rig. You've never seen or used their hollow roller?
Who, me?
Yeah,
The Carter?
Carter.
No. I've seen it. Dave Myers got one. And actually, I played with it a little bit. I've got the Lyle Jameson system.
Yep.
Yep. And I got that because, you know, I'm buddies with Lyle. I really like Lyle. I like what he's doing, and
Yep.
he's
Yeah,
always there for me when I got questions. And
Yep. I've known him for probably 15, almost 20 years now.
yeah,
When my brother was a pastor up in the Upper Peninsula, and we'd go down to see him.
hmm
He was a troll, and my brother was a youper.
right. uh,
Yep. You have to be a Michigander to understand that, don't you,
that's
Doc?
right.
Not really.
How many
I mean,
people? How many people can say we live here?
Right. It's a built-in map.
Yep. Actually, two hands.
Yep.
Yep.
And technically, Canada appears on our northern, eastern, and southern borders.
It's the only spot. Detroit is the only spot in the U.S. where Canada is south.
Right.
Yep.
You know, and people, what?
I used to work downtown. And my friend and I, we would walk down to Hart Plaza at lunch during the summer and watch the ships go by and watch Canada, which was south of us, you know, and that always struck us as funny.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have a girlfriend
Yep.
that lives in Canada. Well, she's not. She's a girl and a friend. You know what I mean. She's a girlfriend. She lives down there across from Detroit in Canada. And
Yeah, Windsor.
I always teased her that, you know, you Southern people, you crack me up.
Yeah.
Whereabouts are you in Michigan, Jeff?
I'm 30 miles north of Detroit. I'm in Troy, Michigan.
Oh my.
I was born in Detroit.
Well, hopefully when it was better.
Well, 56. It was still considered the paradise of the Midwest, but wasn't long after that things started going bad. And, you know, 68 is when the riots happened. That's when Detroit fell apart at the seams.
Yeah.
And I was actually a kid riding my bike downtown Detroit during the riots.
Oh.
and the police would pick me up and take me home, and I'd get back on my bike and ride back because I thought it was pretty cool seeing the National Guard in the street. But Detroit's making big comebacks. It's a great city.
That's what I hear. I hear that it's coming back to life. They're taking down a bunch of the old buildings and stuff.
Yeah, there's still years worth of work to do in the neighborhoods, and that's in part because the people don't want to trust anybody.
No.
You know, they don't want people coming in their neighborhoods and fixing it up and stuff like that. And there's still, you know, a massive drug problem that they got to combat. So it's tricky. It's walking a fine line, you know. But the city itself is just a wonderful place to be, and I can go down there 2:00 in the morning and feel totally safe. I couldn't do that in the 80s and in the early 90s.
No, and
Or even in the 70s.
Learned real quick to stay away from there during them times.
Yeah. Yep. But you can go down there now. You can go down and walk the river walk right now, and there's couples down there walking hand in hand, and everything's well lit, nice and clean. You know.
Well, I hope it does make a comeback. That'd be great. You know, a lot of places in America need a comeback.
Yeah.
Not just
Yeah.
Detroit, but a lot of places.
Well, you know, Detroit is older than America itself.
Really?
Yeah, it's over 350 years old.
Yeah.
It was founded as a settlement by the French, and they named it the Trois, which means the passage. And they founded it for trading, fur trading and stuff. And then the French army came in and took possession of the fort and fortified it and everything to stop certain ships from coming through.
All right.
You know,
That must have been part of the, what do they call it? Louisiana Purchase or something like that. We bought a bunch of land from the French Canadians. And
yeah. No, I think it was long before that even.
Oh yeah.
Our country wasn't even formed yet.
No, I mean that we got it at when we got it. Because it became part of America at some point.
Well, yeah, when Michigan was formed. When Michigan was formed and became a state. So.
Well, we were the Michigan Territory for a while there, with a territorial governor that got us in a war with Toledo.
Yeah. Yeah. Fighting over 5 miles strip of land, yeah.
It started over somebody throwing somebody through a bar window. That triggered it.
Yeah.
And the bar is still there, and
I blame Jay.
there's some real landmarks in Toledo.
That's not Tony Paco's, is it?
No, it's close to that. But yeah, that's why I say Tony is the second one. I've got some of the early Paco shirts.
Yeah.
You just came in.
We used to go down and pack people in cars and just go down for a Friday night.
Yeah, I used to do that. Catch a Mud Hens game. Yep.
Yep. Give this the coat of sanding sealer here before I take it off and let it dry.
What kind of sanding sealer are you using?
Oh, it's a Danish oil thinned because I want to help the color be a little darker.
Oh, okay.
You know, I don't care if it's turning on the lathe or carbon. I hate sanding.
Everybody does. But one of the things that they're going to talk about, one of the things they're going to talk about in the workshop is, you know, we always talk about putting finishes on, like our lacquer and our waxes and stuff, but that's not the finish. The finish is the sanding. You got to get the sanding right, or everything's going to show. Yep. And that's one of the things that Alfred's going to talk about in the workshop. And he's going to show the proper methods. And you know, the thing is with sanding, it may take you 2-3 hours to get it right, depending on how bad the scratches are and how bad your tool marks are.
I've been sanding on this piece. I've been sanding on this piece for 2 days.
Is it a carved piece?
Yeah.
Yeah, carving's a little different. Yeah.
You stick around until after the live. I'll show it to you, but I don't want to do it live because I try to get people to come watch on my channel. They know I'm going to go show it over here. They'll come over here and look, and then they won't come to my channel. And Jay will get famous, and I'll be stuck out in the weeds.
No. You just got the whole thing wrong. People come to your channel for you and your personality.
So, Doc, tell us all, what was the video that you deleted?
It was a live stream. And it bombed badly, I thought, anyway. I mean, it did all right, but it was the wrong time to do one. And I didn't have anything really planned and whatnot. And
I went to watch it because I got a notification and it said this the uploader has removed it. I was like, oh, yeah? Something got said on there then?
No. Actually, it was fairly good. I mean, I
Fairly
didn't say nothing too awful bad. Not anything worse than what I'd say here. An accident, you know. It was a bad live stream, and I don't usually keep live streams up anyway. Because, you know, once they're over, nobody watches them. I mean, they might initially the first, day that they come out, maybe the day after, but then after that, they're dead.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's hard to get people to watch a video that's more than 30 minutes long, and sometimes 30 minutes is pushing it.
No, I disagree. I think that that you can have videos up to 1 hour or 2 hours long, but you got to be able to keep them interested that long and do a lot of B-roll. You know.
Yeah. Yeah.
If you're just going to do 2 hours of Bob stroking his wood, then yeah, they're going to get bored pretty quick and leave. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if Bob does it naked, they might watch for that.
Man,
I can't say that I would probably stick around, but
well, you know, we all have the people we like to watch. You know.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Sorry, Bob. I used
what do
you
you
as an
think?
example, buddy. So
I like the color in there.
Yeah. That looks good.
I think there's people that can pull off them long videos. I don't. I can do it, but I don't know how many exactly people actually stick around through it all. I have done them really long videos, and I got 8, 10, and 12-hour videos on my channel, but they're sleep videos, though. You know, people turn them on to go to bed.
Well, you're providing a valuable service. So
Well, I must be. They're the ones that get watched the most.
yeah, those of us that have insomnia. I did one day. I just set up my phone. I had a half a log, and I just decided I was going to set up my phone and live stream on Facebook. And I got it to the point where I wanted to. I had to call it a day. And after I finished, I realized it was 3.5 hours long.
Yeah.
And it was just me turning. I didn't talk to the phone at all. And you know, I don't know how many people have viewed that since then. I don't know how to check that, but I made a part 2 for it a couple of days later, where I came back and finished the other side of it and put a finish on it.
Well, I know there's people that like that, you know, and wood turning can be considered you know, depending on how you do it, can be considered as some ASMR videos.
Oh, okay. ASMR.
ASMR.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think that's
well, it is very satisfying to watch.
yeah, especially if you get some guy that knows how to use a skew.
Yeah.
You know, and he's just using that skew over and over again. You know, I like to watch people use the skew.
Yeah.
I
Well,
think
Rob was going to be doing a workshop for us later this year, and it's going to include the skew, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
I love the skew. It's a great tool.
Yeah. It's funny. I've been turning for 10 years, and I do very little, if any, spindle work. So that's been one of my goals this year, is to get more spindle work under my belt. Because I make a lot of pens. Pens sell really well and keep my hobby going. But I don't consider that spindle work.
Yeah, it's a spindle. I mean,
it is, but you know,
I consider anything that isn't a bowl spindle work.
Yeah, but for me, you know, the spindle work that I really want to get into is like the candlesticks and stuff, where you've got ornate stuff in it. So a pen's a pen, you know,
right?
And you shape it a little bit differently here and there, but it's really nothing to do it. I made my first candle holder this year. I did it for a charity thing where they were raising money.
Right now,
I did it on a piece of wood that was 275 years old.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Right now, Axe Wood Paste has a challenge going on.
Yeah.
On making candlesticks, and they don't want you to do a video or nothing. He wants you to send in one picture of your candle holder. He said, make it a good one.
Yeah, he's doing it like Alan Stratton does his Christmas ornament challenge. Just send in the image, and then he'll have a couple judges. I plan on doing something for that. I love Tom and Annette. I love Tom and Annette. They're great people.
They are. They're awesome, and they got big hearts. You know.
They do. They got big hearts. Matter of fact, I just got a T-shirt off of them. I said I'm going to start wearing it to all the club meetings just to advertise for them. Because you just can't beat their product. Yeah.
I got mine.
What color did you get?
I don't know.
Oh, you did. I got green.
I advertise for him all the time. I've been advertising for him since he got started, and he had sent me a kit to try, and matter of fact, I still am using that kit. And I've gotten 2 other ones since then. I know there's one in there in that package I just showed you with the T-shirts, and I got another package in the other room here that has a kit in it that hasn't been opened either.
Oh.
And I won that from a giveaway. And
yeah, I got my first kit by a giveaway. I won, and I'm almost terrified that my name's going to get called again because I'm only halfway through it, and I still got some Yorkshire grit and some Hampshire sheen to go through.
Oh well,
but I like Tom's stuff. I really do. It's great stuff.
I've never used the Yorkshire stuff, not because I wouldn't, just because I haven't. You know, I'm not.
It's good.
From my understanding, I've talked to a few turners, and they said there's very little, if any, difference between the two.
On the sanding paste, there's very little difference.
That they can tell anyway.
Other than the price, they're both very easy to work with. They're both brown, and as far as the polishing paste, Tom's is a little softer. It's not as hard as the Hampshire sheen.
Right.
So it doesn't take heating it up really to get it to spread evenly at first. You know, I mean, you just slash it around.
Rub it right on, man.
Yep, it's great.
And I like
now.
You're gonna laugh, but I like using that finishing paste on my shoes.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah. Waterproof some, keep my feet dry.
Well, and Tom puts carnauba wax in it too, so it makes it a good finish.
You know, you don't have to use that much. You take a little like a little paintbrush, a little 1-inch paintbrush or something, and just rub it on with your fingers, and then stroke that paintbrush back and forth to get your coats even, and then take a hairdryer to it, and because you got to heat it up.
Well, I've never done that. I saw William Hunt do that with the Hampshire sheen, and it did make a big difference. It's a beautiful shine.
Yeah, it works great. Works great. I like Tom's stuff.
Yeah.
And then she's a sweetheart. Tom is too, but I try not to say that too much because he gets excited.
Well, I have never used it. So I ran out of the stuff. I couldn't bring it in from Britain, so I took what pocket money I had this month to get it.
Yeah.
It's actually not, when you think about it, it's a very, very small price to pay for what you're getting.
Yeah.
Because when you buy the kit, you're actually only paying for the paste. He throws in the finishing paste for free.
Yeah. Essentially, you're getting both products from him that you would spend almost 3 times as much for the English stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably alone.
The last can of Yorkshire or Hampshire sheen I got was $38 just for that, and that was from Jeff Hornung here in America. That didn't come over from overseas.
Wow.
And so, you know, $28.90, and I've got what I need for quite some time.
Yeah, and Tom goes out of his way to make people happy too, you know. So
Yeah, yeah.
And he gives away a kit almost every Sunday.
Yeah, well, sometimes more than one.
Yeah, yeah,
Then he complains about he's not making money.
yeah.
Well, this stuff,
But
regardless of whose name is on it or what, is actually very old. There's several
Oh, yeah.
recipes in my grandfather's Bible for the stuff that was used by the Masons, and he learned to use it and make it when
Yep.
he was 12 years old in Europe,
right,
where they were brought up. And his father was a Mason, and it was handed down to him when, you know, when they came over here during at the potato famine.
And
So the recipes is about the
them were the secrets
You know,
the Masons didn't share with other people.
yeah, yeah. Well, you know, there's some turners out there on YouTube. They're using what's friction polish called Frenchie's polish. That's nothing more than 3-2-1, and that's been around for 100 years. But
Yeah.
somebody along the way named it.
Well, it's a version of rotten stone, you know, pumice
Yep.
and rotten stone, and the oil that you like the best, and the wax to go in it.
Yep.
Oh,
When I make my friction polish, I always use walnut oil. That's my favorite.
Well, my grandfather they had to use beeswax, and it had to be fresh beeswax.
Yeah.
At the end of the season, they'd come shoo the bees away before any honey was put in to speak of, and then use that wax.
No. Okay.
There's a form of friction polish I want to learn how to make, and I'm almost certain how to do it, but you know how it is when you're almost certain about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the lacquer version of friction polish.
I've not heard of that.
You use lacquer, or not lacquer, but lacquer instead of shellac, or shellac.
Do you mean friction polish, or do you mean sanding sealer?
Friction polish.
Oh, okay.
Well, friction polish and sanding sealer are basically the same thing. One's just cut more.
Well, yeah. And I use cellulose sanding sealer, which is lacquer, with an agent put into it to help it seal a little bit more. But it's great stuff.
Okay.
And I use that on most of my bowls and stuff, unless the wood is an open grain wood that sucks up a lot, that's really dry. Then I will use shellac sanding sealer, and I will do a couple coats of that until it stops absorbing. Then I'll do a coat of lacquer sanding sealer over it, and that actually puts a nice shine on.
Well, basically, friction polish is the way we use it for turning. It's actually a modified version of French polishing.
Yes, yeah, it is. As a matter of fact, the Frenchie's polish, or what we know here in Michigan is 3-2-1. That's the mixture that they use for French polishing.
Okay.
I
know it's thin.
Yeah. Yep. Then the mixture that most people have been using for years is even amounts of shellac, denatured alcohol, and boiled linseed oil, or your favorite oil. In my case, walnut oil.
I use right now. That's what I'm using is the OB Shine Juice.
Yeah, and because of Captain Eddie, everybody knows it as OB Shine Juice.
Actually, you know what? I found that and another version of sanding paste that some old Mexican guy was showing on YouTube before I even found Captain Eddie, and that was before I had started turning wood. I was looking up carving videos at the time, and because I was doing carving videos before I started turning. And it's funny how I thought I was going to get away from that, but you know, Michigan winters stay different.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Where are you located at, Dark?
I'm in Byron Center, just south of Grand Rapids.
Oh, okay. Okay. My wife's family's from the Grand Rapids area. My wife was in Wyoming last Sunday.
That's north of us still, but yeah, we know where it's at.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Mm-hmm.
Busy. busy place. More busy than I want to be in.
Well, you should come down here to Troy sometime. Wow. It's not so bad since the pandemic. Traffic's actually been halfway decent, but before the pandemic, it would take my wife sometimes 10 minutes to get out of the neighborhood because traffic was so bad on the cross streets.
I don't even like driving on 28th Street.
Oh, that's the worst. 28th is the worst. Yeah.
So I live in a one-horse town compared to where Robbo lives.
Yeah.
And I've got to drive right through the guts of Melbourne, the busiest part, to get to his house. Not looking forward to that.
No.
I live in a one-horse town, and I hate the traffic here, you know. So, yeah, I know.
You'll be all right, Dave.
I grew up in a little farm. I grew up in a little farming village, and there was only, I think, the population, the recorded population was 950 at the time, but it was built on the main highway that got into nine other villages, so there was always heavy traffic going through it. And it was even heavier when the farmers were out and driving their tractors down the road to get to their fields.
I was brought up for the most part of my beginning life in Tustin. Now in Tustin, heavy traffic was considered when the chickens would run out in front of your tractor.
Ugh.
Yeah. I'm trying to get Jay to milk them chickens.
By the way, Jay, that vase has come a long way since I last saw it. It looks great.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does some really good work. I'm going to try and get him some of the hollowing stuff from Carter.
Oh, that'd be great. Yep.
Wouldn't hurt my feelings if you sent me some too, Bob.
Well, you can just drive over there and get it.
Yeah, maybe.
I was just talking to Ron today, Ron Campbell.
Oh, you know, he was the beta test, one of the beta test persons for my hollowing system.
Yeah.
That's where I got to know him real well. We did some shows together and traveled.
We're talking today because he's decided the retreat's back on, so he's going to do the retreat this year.
Oh, okay.
That system that you made, Bob, is that one of those ones that go on the arm? You know, they have the arm hooked to the.
No, anybody. I've had she was 10 at the time. Little girl here, she wanted to sit and do it, so I got her on a stool and she was hollowing with it for a few minutes. She liked it. And then the duplicator I have, they don't even make anymore in Canada, but they still support them. At 12, she was making stuff that I needed to run on a duplicator for a house a friend of mine owned, and they had to have new banisters turned. And it wasn't new. The house was about 90 years old, and they gave me the old ones, and they said they're all different sizes, and some of them are split and cracked, but we need to make them so they're closer together because they had a young kid that was going, and the law here says they sets the spacing between them so that you can't get a kid's head between them and strangled them. So I had to make some that looked old. And after I got done turning them, and I let at that time, 12-year-old sit there and crank it back and forth and follow the template. And then we put them on the lathe, and they sanded them so they looked all right. And then I took a chain and hit them, put some dents in them because it had to look old.
Right.
I had a girlfriend like that. It had to look old, so I had to hit it with a chain.
Yep, that's one of the techniques of making wood look old, the dents in it.
Yeah.
But they had to have it so it looked that they were trying to restore it, but not replace.
Yeah.
But they had to have more because they were, at the time, I think 18 inches apart. Kid could fall through there.
Yeah.
but it was just for looks, and it was just a staircase, and it was in Grosse Pointe Woods, so not rich area, but nice. And they were restoring the house, so they brought me 10 of them and said, "Can you make me 30?" So
Sure.
I charged them, $35 a piece, and it took about. In reality, if I'd done the turning on the duplicator, it probably would have taken me about 25 minutes a piece.
Mm-hmm.
But the kids liked it, and they made some money out of it to buy presents for their parents for Christmas on something they earned, and they were so
Yeah.
proud.
And that's a valuable lesson.
That means a lot
Oh.
too, and they respect it more afterwards.
Yep,
Yep,
and
very-
they all, to make them feel part of it around here, they have their own helmets, safety with their names on them.
Oh,
and they were
great.
so when they got them.
My little
But
niece, lives just down the road from me now that we moved, and I've been contemplating this summer bringing her over and letting her turn.
Ayla had to have the colored stuff put on,
Yeah.
but she's the artist.
I'm kind of leery about that, not because of her, but because of her mom. You know, you know how it is.
Yep.
Her mom. I don't know. Her mom might be all right with it. I haven't really got to the point where I want to ask yet, but I think she'd really enjoy it. She loves the new ink pens that come, with the acrylic, the kits.
Yeah.
So I turned her a couple of stick pens, and she loved them. The big stick pens.
Uh-huh.
She really dug them, but she told me she was paying like $30 for an ink pen. I thought, Jesus Christ, that's a lot of money for an ink pen. We can fix that.
I have them that I sell for anywhere from $40 to $90.
Really?
So, yeah. Yep. High-end ones. So, but I also have a whole bunch of the slim lines that I sell for $20, and I sell a lot of those.
Well, you almost had to sell them for that to cover the price of them.
Yeah, pretty much. And they're so quick to make, so I'm actually making a profit on them. Because I've got the slim dines down with the CA finish. I've got it down to 20 minutes. So.
I don't have no clientele for that, so I mean, if I'm paying that much money for ink pens to make ink pens at this point, I'm doing it for Christmas gifts or something. You know what I mean?
Right.
Hey, Bob.
Clientele for it, it'd be different.
They've got so many different crazy designs now too that are just, I think, way overpriced, and they're not kits that I could sell. I like
the gun ones.
The bolt action.
Yeah, the bolt action ones. Some are cool. I was looking at just one kit.
What the heck is that?
It's Jay.
Oh, it's Jay.
Yeah, he thinks because it's his live stream, he should be able to make noise.
It's his ball game. He owns the ball.
Dr. Bob, you've got something hanging right in front of your camera that's looking down at the piece. Something blue or purple.
Oh, that's the light I had on.
No, it's running straight across. It's hanging right in front of the camera. That's it.
That's the power cord.
So Darth, the bolt action pens, I generally make those in two types of camo out of acrylic. I make them in the jungle camo, and I make them out of the camo that's used now for sand and desert and stuff. And I sell a lot of them to veterans.
Yeah.
And the jungle camo, I sell a lot to hunters here in Michigan.
Right. Yeah.
I get $50 a piece for them.
I know. I can't remember who it was, but somebody, and it may have even been Captain Eddie. Somebody was making pens and sending them overseas to the troops.
Yeah. Captain Eddie is a big promoter of that, and it's kind of his project, but he has somebody else run it for him because he's got so much stuff going on. Originally, it was a gentleman, we just called him Sarge. I don't remember his name, but he's passed away. And he's got another veteran now who's doing that all. I've probably made 500 pens for it.
Oh, really? I just found out about it like beginning of the year, and I thought it was cool. You know,
I've been doing it off and on for about 5 years for Captain. And
that's
what I
longer
do,
than I've been turning.
yeah, I do a production style. I'll get one type of wood and cut it up into blanks and everything. I'll get them all turned, and then I'll put them on a 1/4-inch rod about 36 inches long, and I'll just do 4 coats of lacquer on them, spray lacquer. I use Deft. And then take them off, and or no, before I take them off, I buff them with a rouge, and then I take them off and assemble them, and they look great. And the last batch I sent out was Louisiana mahogany.
Oh, nice.
Which is a very hard mahogany to get. And I found out I actually got an email from one of the troops that got it, and he's from Louisiana. He thought it was just the coolest thing in the world.
Oh, I bet.
But
yeah.
I always have a little message with us that says, "Thank you very much for your service and allowing me to enjoy what I enjoy." And I say, "God bless you," and give him the pen.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
But
well,
Captain, I think Captain has probably put out 10 to 15,000 pens to the troops.
Oh, I'm sure he has. Probably more.
Yeah.
You know, he's quite a guy. I like to watch him, and I like to watch him turn. When he does turn, it's hard to catch him turning.
Well, he's getting back to it now. He's finally at the point with his health that he can do it.
Oh, good.
The doctor's finally, because it's been an up and down time for him. From the time he had a tumor taken out.
Right? A stroke?
Well, yeah, he had a tumor taken out. Then the day afterwards, he had a stroke.
He had brain surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man.
And he had that 1 year before I had my tumor taken out of my head. I just didn't have the problems he had. I had some cognitive problems and stuff, and I was forced into retirement because of it. But I love Captain. I always have. I've watched every single one of his videos.
So
and some of those videos are the ones that put me to sleep at night.
Yeah.
I think the only one I ever watched. The only one I ever watched of his that I disagreed with was his segmenting sled. I don't like the adjustable segmenting sleds. I think you've got to make one, either a wedgie sled, or you've got to make a sled where it's locked into that position, and one sled for 12 segments, one sled for 16 segments. I think when you got that moving arm over a period of time, you're going to have variations, and all you need is a 1/2 degree variation, and you've got a messed up ring, and a lot of sanding ahead of you.
Yeah, well, I'm the type of guy that don't need to think too much when I'm doing stuff. So, yeah, I want all my stuff stationary and knowing that it's going to be what it is when it comes out.
Yeah, and the wedgie sled has its problems too. I made a wedgie sled, and I have found when I get the wedgie in and I get the fences up against it, I measure from the edge of the sled to the top of the wedgie. On both ends of the wedgie to make sure they're at the same point so it's not cockeyed. Because I found if it's cockeyed, it can be off by a degree. And plus, I made the mistake of building my wedgie sled out of 1/2-inch plywood. And I'm working on an urn for my mother right now, and I had to do a lot of sanding. And what I found out was the sled was flexing.
Yeah.
And so this weekend, I'm going to be running over to Lowe's to pick up some MDF, 3/4-inch MDF, and make one properly.
Right. Why don't you use? Why not just use one big piece of hardwood? I mean, like a regular piece of hardwood. Why use MDF or
cost?
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you figure in the cost if it's going to last. I mean,
MDF also doesn't expand and contract with humidity changes.
Oh, okay. All right.
Hardwood will. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
And plywood's not supposed to, but plywood does also. Just not as much as a hardwood would. So
what is Jay's lips when he's blowing kisses? See, he must not be listening.
No,
usually I can get
he's deep in thought. He's deep in thought, paying attention to what he's doing as he should.
He's got his hand deep in that hole.
That's fantasizing.
Oh, there it goes. I see you, Jay. Yeah.
Listen, I'm going to step away for about 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
No worries.
Okay.
What did you see, Doc?
Nothing. I was just seeing if you were paying attention, man.
You see that?
Yeah, I did. I see that.
That's just me holding the sandpaper. I don't know what exactly you're seeing. Sorry.
Well, it was the Australian version of your number one.
Yeah, that's it. You know it. See the flowers I got for today?
Them are pretty.
Who gave you the flowers? Your lovely wife?
No, we grow the plant in our backyard in a pot, but because it's a form of cane, so I'd rather keep it in the pot so it doesn't get too out of control.
Now, is that a species that's native to Australia, or is it?
No, I don't think it is. It's actually a begonia.
You know, I found out something about Bradford pear today.
Yeah?
That's an invasive species.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that. You know,
They say you learn something new every day.
yeah. Well, if the day I don't, I'll probably be put in a round wooden cylinder of some sort.
I'm back. I was getting a little dry. I had to make a libation.
I think I'm going to do that too because Jay drank all my coffee.
This is a vodka gimlet.
Oh, yeah. I drink one of those, man, and I could be out.
That used to be my bowling drink. If I was bowling lousy, I'd have a vodka gimlet, and all of a sudden, I'm hitting 250.
Relaxed you.
Yeah. I think that's what it was. I'm generally a martini drinker, a vodka martini drinker, but my wife wanted some Rose's Lime the other day to make gimlets, and I kind of got hooked on these again. It's been years since I really had one.
I'm more of a beer guy, I guess. You know, I used to drink a lot of hard liquor, but I'm more of a beer guy now. You know,
my grandfather was a big beer drinker, but he would take some whiskey down once in a while.
yeah. Nothing
And
like
he was a funny man. He had a boat with my Uncle Herman on the Detroit River. They right after World War II, they started bootlegging Weiser's Deluxe from Canada over to America, and they did that. They did that all the way up through 1969, and the way they got away with it is number one, they had a Chris Craft mahogany hull speedboat. No other boat could go faster than that. They had a fake fuel tank in it, where they put all the bottles of whiskey, and they had a chute that if they need to, they could pull the chute and it would dump the whole load into the river.
Oh, nice.
And but they did that, and then they also, the Marine sheriff, they knew him very well, so all they had to do was wave to him, and he waved back at him. And the customs agents on the Canada side, that you got to check in with when you go into Canada and you leave, they just waved to him. They knew him. And so they did that up to 1969, and it was funny. I was 12 years old, just going on 13, and we went across to Canada, the three of us, my uncle, my grandpa, and I, and we used to go to a place called Sunnyside Tavern, and they would take me over because they had the best onion rings in Canada. And so they'd sit in the bar, and I'd sit in the restaurant and eat onion rings and drink sodas. And we come back, and we were halfway across. They waved at the customs guys. And I said, "Who's that?" And they goes, "Oh, that's the custom guys. That we know them." And so I waved at them. I had no idea what was going on. We got about halfway across the river, and the Marine sheriff started coming our way. And my grandfather looked over, and he goes, "That's not Pete." And my uncle said, "What do you mean it's not Pete?" He goes, "That's not Pete. That guy's too young." And my uncle reached up underneath the transom, pulled a lever, and we heard a boom. And my grandfather just went white. He said, "You had a load with my grandson in the boat?" And he goes, "I don't have a load now." Right? And I'm going, what? My grandfather's, "Never mind." And he told me years later what that was. But my grandfather, we'd go down every weekend and sleep on the boat. And it was when we slept on the boat, it was my Uncle Herman, it was him, myself, my cousin who was my age, and my Uncle Carl. And it was just we just sit there and drink. I was 15 years old and I drink with him, and that's the only time I ever saw my grandfather drink whiskey. And he could be there and he'd have his whiskey and he'd be all drunk and his head down like this. And my cousin Jude always brought his guitar. So my cousin Jude knew all the old songs that my grandfather and my uncle liked and everything. My grandfather was in his 70s at the time. And he'd start playing shanty in old shanty town. And my grandfather would just be like this and not responsive and everything. And all of a sudden he'd go, "There's only a shanty." Walk right up. And as soon as the song was done, he would. So that's why we slept on the boat all weekend.
Yeah.
But it was great because you're on the boat, the freighters go by, and the boat rocks and just rocks you right to sleep.
Right.
Yeah. Good old days. I miss that old man.
That's why I like
Yeah,
in a hammock.
Yeah, I miss my grandfather. He was my best friend in the world. He saved my life because I was in a lot of trouble and everything, and he got custody of me and my two sisters, and got me on the straight and narrow and got me starting working when I was 14. And he was my best friend. I used to take him to my college parties, and all the guys hated me for it because all the girls loved him. All the girls would hang around my grandfather, and then there was one time we're all sitting there, and there's like a circle, and the joints going around, and my grandfather took that, and he took a deep hit on that, and he passed it on, and everybody's like going, "Oh God," and everything, and then he'd exhale after a minute or so. He'd go, "That's the worst damn cigarette I ever smoked." And one of my buddies goes, "Well, that's not a cigarette." He goes, "I know that's not a cigarette. You think I was born yesterday?" He said, "The government used to pay us to grow this." He was just a funny man. And all the girls just hung around him and sat in his lap and stroked his ears and stuff like that. And he was just the life of the party.
I bet you like that.
Yeah. And he passed away in 91. And I was a mess for quite a few years.
I'm sure. I never knew my granddads. Both of them were dead before I was born. From my mom and my dad's side. So
yeah, my granddad on my mom's side, he died when I was 8. So I did know him, but I didn't know him well because he was in a wheelchair. He was one of the first instances of brain surgery. Where they opened up the skull and everything to it was experimental at the time, and it crippled him. And so he couldn't do anything. He was in a wheelchair. One arm was all turned up and everything, but he talked with us kids. He just had a very short temper. I think, he was obviously very angry as I look back on it. And,
Jay's the same way.
But
angry.
Yeah. But my grandfather is the one that raised me, and I'm glad for that. My dad was a drunk. My dad was an alcoholic, and I didn't have a good relationship with my dad until the very last year of his life. He just stopped. He stopped drinking. He stopped all that stuff, and he was actually living in an apartment above a guy with a wood shop. And the guy said, "Go down in the wood shop, make anything you want." And he was making stuff and selling it on the street corner, making toys. I was just blown away by that. I said, "You know how to do this stuff?" He goes, "Oh yeah, I used to do it all the time when I was a kid." And the good thing I can say about that is the last year of my dad's life, him and I made peace. And
that's good.
Yeah. So, but yeah, my grandfather was my real dad.
Was we argued with each other, we'd have an argument, and then, about an hour later, he'd call me on the phone. "Hey, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And we'd end up making up, and then a week later we'd be arguing again. And
it's funny. This is something I tell my son a lot. I said, "You really need to listen to us older people because we've been through it all, and we look back on it now, going, God, I wish I would have known that." It's the old saying.
Wish I would have listened more.
Yeah, and You know, and we got one of the guys in our club, Mike Lenaway. He's a good friend of mine. Yeah, his favorite saying is, youth is wasted on the young,
It is.
and that's true. You
Amen.
know, I would do anything to have another 50 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because just when you figure it out, it's time to go. And
Well,
that's what my grandfather used to say. I'm just starting to figure it out. He'd say that in his 70s. It's just starting to make sense to me.
yep. Yeah,
But-
there's a lot of truth in that too.
Yeah. But for a 5th grade education, he was the wisest and smartest man I ever met in my life. He was amazing.
Well, I'll tell you,
I'm with you.
at
I'm,
75, I can say it's true.
I'm a firm believer that we should age backwards.
Yeah. Yeah, the old Benjamin Button effect. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm all for that.
Actually,
I think Mork, I remember Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
Mork from Mork. They're born old. They're hatched old and they grow younger with age.
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. I think.
But there's also things that I wouldn't do over again. There's periods that I wouldn't live again.
I think that we're coming into an age where people will start living longer.
Yeah. Well, it's a guarantee. They know what causes aging. They know the gene that causes it. And they're actually working on figuring out how to turn that gene off or to control it.
Yep.
So if you want some more years, you can. And when you're done, turn the gene back on and let natural aging take its course.
Oh, man, I would have turned mine off 30 years ago.
Well, I think the thing that's really going to improve lifespan is getting a handle on all these diseases, especially cancer.
I know they found a jellyfish that doesn't ever die. It just regenerates.
Mm-hmm.
It has no aging process. As the cells die, they shed them and regenerate new ones.
Yeah.
So they've been studying that to see what they can use out of it. I don't doubt that we'll have some genetically engineered people before too long.
Oh, yeah. Well, the English right now, in the last 10 years in experimentation labs have been growing body parts. They grew a bladder for a lady from her own cells. So there was absolutely no rejection.
They do that at U of M, Ann Arbor, in the medical.
Yeah, I know. They've started doing that. They're working on.
They use 3D printing.
Yeah, they're actually growing a liver right now for a guy from his own cells.
Last thing I heard on it was a while ago. I mean, this goes back to a while ago where they were growing an ear on a rat.
Yeah, I saw that on top of them. Yeah.
Yep.
It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I always said I wish I would have lived in my grandfather's time to see the amazing inventions and how they changed the world. But now I'm at the point where I'm like, I was born too soon, because they say for every major invention that changed the world in the 20th century, it's going to be 100-fold in the 21st century. The changes are going to come so fast. I would love to see that. I would love to see them go to Mars and colonize. I won't live that long. But it's right around the corner.
I don't see it happening. I really don't. I don't see it happening. I just don't see them colonizing Mars.
We got a 3D printer on the space station that prints human hearts.
Yeah.
Human what?
Actually, they've got a 3D printer that you can build buildings with, and they've developed that for use on Mars to build the shelters.
Huh.
Yeah,
I don't doubt that. I don't doubt that they'll get there. I don't doubt that they'll try it, but I just don't see them colonizing it. I think it's going to be too cold there, and I don't see them actually being able to bring Mars to life.
Well, we're going to colonize the moon first. You got to have a local place to test everything.
Well, that's got to be the fueling station. So. But when you think about it, when the Europeans first came over to this country, they saw a vast wasteland. I mean, there was something that was never going to be civilized. There's no way we can get through all this. But look at us now, 250 years later.
Come on now, we all know they wanted our wood.
Yeah, that's right.
If Elon Musk has
now we're buying from them.
Really, what they wanted one of the things they wanted more than anything, and the French wanted it, was the fur.
Hmm. French wanted the fur. The Spanish wanted the gold.
Yep.
Yep.
The Indians wanted to be left alone.
Indians want to be left alone. The Puritans just want to come here and be able to worship the way they wanted to worship without being persecuted. And we settled the land. So from that point of view, I don't see any reason why they can't do it. But, we can't think in our present technology. We got to think about the fact that there's technologies that aren't even invented yet that's going to make that happen. Yep.
Well, I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying I have a hard time seeing them do it, and not because I don't think they can, because I don't think it's viable. There's a reason for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's different. A reason and viable are two different things.
Right. Elon Musk, his big push is that it has to be done because, this Earth is going to get to the point where it's not going to be livable anymore.
I've been trying to say that for the last 10 minutes. If Elon Musk has anything to do with it,
yeah, it'll happen.
There'll be a fueling station in mid-space. They won't put it on a planet. They'll have it floating like Jetsons.
Yep. Well, he was just talking the other day about to do the Mars thing. It takes all the fuel of the ship to just get out of Earth's orbit. And so he's building a tanker that's going to be up in space. And so when the rocket gets up there, it connects up to it just like the planes, the fighter planes do in midair, and refuels and takes off.
Well, I mean, I could see that happening. I mean, we already have space stations, and they were talking about using a tethering system.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I don't know how that worked out. Whether they, scrapped that idea or what.
Well, the elevator going up.
The tether. Yeah.
Yeah.
I could imagine. I could imagine them using the tethering system to fuel the tanker. I mean, that'd be one heck of a hose.
Yeah. But you know what? In the 60s, they threw out the idea, before we even got to the moon, they threw out the idea of building a space station, and everybody laughed about that. And we got the ISS up there's 22 years old now, and it's getting old, and they're talking about building a new one now, and there's even been talk about moving the ISS into an orbit around the moon.
Well, one of the Chinese space stations just fell here a couple of years ago, 2 years ago. The Taiwan one.
Mm-hmm.
That just fell out of space here a year or two ago.
Yeah.
That made for great videos.
Oh, yeah. Well, our Skylab fell out of space. What was it, about 10 years ago?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that made for some great videos.
SpaceX has kind of got it solved. I think they're building a rocket called the Super Heavy, and then they've got their starships that they're building. They're going to get mounted on top of this giant rocket that makes the Starship is 33 stories tall. And it's gonna make the Starship look like a little Matchbox car next to it it gets craned up onto this one, so it's not wasting its fuel, so it can use all its fuel to get to Mars.
And then the Super Heavy, it comes back just like the Falcon's doing now. But what they're going to do different, they're not going to land it. It's going to come back to the same platform, and it's going to hover, and arms are going to come out and reach it and grab it and pull it in.
Oh wow!
I think that part of it was actually going to get done out on the ocean.
Yes, on a massive barge out in the ocean. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's amazing how they're landing rockets. I just that blows my mind. And I just watched SpaceX land another one here the other day. And
yeah. It's 1950 sci-fi. It's 1950 sci-fi is what it is.
No. Yeah. It goes back to the original Buck Rogers in the 40s.
Well, yeah.
I say many of you guys remember when it was first on at the movie theaters before television. Mm-hmm. I'm an old fart. I remember before television, at least in our family, we used to go to the movie theater, and it was like 3 blocks away.
Yeah.
And I'd take my brother, at the time was 4, and hold his hand, and he had to sit next to me, but he liked the movies too, or he'd fall asleep during the good ones.
Yeah.
See,
I didn't get to the movie theaters till 1965, so.
Yeah, it was in the 50s.
Yeah. So it's amazing.
First movie I seen at the theater was Star Wars.
Oh, really?
You're a youngin'.
First movie I saw, and I didn't even know what I was 5 years old. I didn't even know what I was watching. We went to a drive-in theater downriver from us, the whole family, and it was Mutiny on the Bounty with Marlon Brando.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And I never saw that movie again until I was 25 years old, and it was on TV, and I watched it. I'm going, that's a damn good movie.
Well, the movie that I remember that really got me intrigued and started in science and electronics, electricity, though I had a relative that was a broadcast engineer at JR and at Wixie Studios. He moved over there when they started doing more old radio shows, and he did sound effects and whatever at Wixie. And I remember going with my mother because she would do stuff in the Lone Ranger because it was done there.
Yeah.
They did a lot of radio at Wixie continuously. Yeah. And they would do transcriptions, the big 14-inch records, and they would ship them to other stations, the B and C stations, and rotate them because they didn't really have a network other than shipping stuff. There was, because the telephone cables didn't have the frequency response, and that was a big engineering problem. But we used to go down and do that, watch my mother, and I remember I'd had, and I don't know how old I was other than hearsay in the family. I was supposedly about 8 years old. They got pictures of me with headphones on. And what was interesting is, and I got one of me at 4 with headphones on at the studio. I've got it on my phone, but I have to put it up. But my job was to flush a toilet when the sound engineer would stand in the hallway, and they had run microphone cables to the bathroom because they had to simulate water being flushed down a canyon. And that was their sound effects, to have it so as you could hear it.
Yeah.
They had to wait for the tank to have the initial vacuum broke. And after that, you could hear it. And I was so important. And at the end of the show, they were talking and, give credit. And it was Bobby Elliott.
Bobby Elliott, yeah.
They didn't say what I did. And I never knew about it. My family kept it up. And my sister has a copy of the transcription, but it's hard to get. There just isn't many turntables that handle 18-inch records.
Right. Right.
Of
what
course,
speed was it?
Speed was, I want to think it was running about 40, 45 to get, because there was no music. Or the music was poor quality, because it.
Yeah.
But that was what went out. It was just one of them. It might have been faster than that. I don't remember because I was too little when they were doing transcriptions.
Interesting.
But it's fun going to the radio station, and that my babysitter was one of the soundmen. And I had another thing to do with the Lone Ranger that, I heard it again on I forget the podcast that Alexa has, that old time radio stuff, and I'll listen to it. And they have one that just goes and plays random and announces them and the year and date that they actually were first broadcast, and I'll listen to that at night or while I'm in the shop.
Yeah. Well, the Lone Ranger on the radio, that opening sequence where the narrator's talking about him, that was Bill Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yep.
But my dad knew Tonto. Bruce, he knew him real well because they went to school together in Canada.
The radio Tonto or the TV Tonto?
Well, he did some of the radio, but he was the major the radio one, but he didn't do I think 4 years of film work, and
Okay.
they didn't like the fact that he was Canadian, and they should get an American Indian to do it. It was a union problem.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah, we were always
Silver-
dressing up white guys in the movies as Indians. You know?
yeah, Jay Silverheels, and he was from
Yeah.
Brantford, Canada, from the reservation there, and
Yep.
it was always fun because to me he was Uncle Jay.
Yeah.
He would come over to us on the east side on Ashland for hockey games, Red Wing games. And the Red Wings were playing, and either one of the Canadian teams, because they all knew the Canadian players, because my dad was brought up in Canada. He's naturalized after the war.
Mm-hmm.
So it was nothing to go down to Olympia to watch them all scrimmage and practice and sit there, and I would have to be babysit by Tonto. And in elementary school, is like third grade, third grade in Detroit, Ives, we were having show and tell, and somewhere my father thought, well, Jay's going to be here, and I always called him Uncle Jay, that he's going to be here for the hockey game tomorrow, but he's coming in tonight by train because he's got to do some more of the Lone Ranger stuff, because they had a summer break. So on Friday, I took Tonto as show and tell to my school, Ives Elementary. There wasn't a single class that was held. Everybody was out on the playground to meet with him and talk to him. Teachers, neighbors heard about it, and he got mobbed. And they got a big picture. Detroit Free Press had pictures of him, the guest that visited the elementary school in Detroit.
Yeah.
They didn't recognize him because he didn't have the feathers he was just dressed, like the teachers.
Yeah.
And he had to explain that, well, he is an Indian. He was born on a reservation in Canada. And it was, and all of a sudden I was the hero because my dad knew him.
Yeah.
I
They
think
used to get in trouble with that.
I think it's a travesty what they did with the new one.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And there's been another one since then.
It has there.
It didn't last long at all in the theaters. It was it's not something that's going to work in the movies because it was done right the first time.
Well, I think if they would have stayed true to what it was, it would have done great. But they tried to make it a comedy.
Yeah.
And they destroyed it.
Yep. And that's what they tend to do.
Working in Alaska on the pipeline, I did documentation on it. I had a team of, at the peak of the line, 123 cameramen and 11 people that worked in the lab because we souped our own film there at the university. But it was really interesting because I was doing a lot of work with the native population under the land claim settlement, of which had gone through just prior to that, where the Alaska Natives own their own land, by the nations that were up there, the 14 or 15 of them. And it was really interesting because they brought in for one of the celebrations, Jay Silverheels. And I had to take a film crew to Anchorage. I was stationed in Fairbanks, to Anchorage. Took 3 cameras, 6 people, and an audio person. And we set it up in this big conference room where all the heads of the local Native associations were there to meet them because they all knew about Tonto because they used to get all the old reruns, and they would get it on 16 millimeter and they would show it in their villages. And then they would bicycle, maybe 50 of them, by dog sled or something to another village and trade off all the time. That's the only thing they had. That's before videotape. So it was intriguing. And he wanted to come up and he was their guest for the day. And he was in his 80s. And he comes in and he sits down at the head of this big mile-long table with all the chiefs that were there, the heads of the different associations and their wives, because it's only appropriate the wife is with the husband at meetings. That's just something that's done throughout most of the Alaska Natives at that time. They would take them to prove that women were equal, because they are. They do different tasks, but they're still equal.
Right.
And I had cameras all set up, and he comes in and he gets announced, and everyone stands up and applauds, and they're asking questions and of him, and he just looks up at him, and then he's down at the table for a while, and he looks up at him and answers the questions and how proud he is because of what he's done, because he was the one that got the First Nation program going in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
If you're familiar with that. It's all of the Native Canadian groups belong to they're called the First Nation. They still have their tribes, but as a unit, they're the First Nation.
Okay.
And he was talking about how what they were putting together was similar in Alaska, and they were mirroring what they could. And he was talking about what it's done and how he has seen it. And all of a sudden, at the end, after everyone wanted to stand and applaud for him being there, he looks up from the table and he says, "You're awfully quiet down there, Windy Bob. Last time I saw you, you wouldn't shut up." And all these big people who are heads are looking at me, and he says, "Your father, is he still out there making the hockey team look stupid?" And then he even got more of it. He said, "And this kid had the guts when he was just a little puppy to take me to school to show me off." And the whole neighborhood, he said, he exaggerated, I think. But I was little, and he was about 25, 26. No, he was 30. No, wait a minute. He was 27, because he was a year older than my father, and I knew when I was born, so I have to calculate that. And it was really interesting because everyone, all of a sudden, I'm on the top of everyone's totem, and they want to know how I know him and what I've done. But he'd remembered me. He saw it on the book that they were all given, and they all had a short bio of, to in essence say this is why they're here at the meeting, and I was a documentarian for it.
Nice.
Nice. And I couldn't believe that he'd remember that far back.
Yeah. Hey, Jay, what is that you just put on?
Man juice.
What is it?
Man juice.
No. It's something
Oh,
that
liquid beeswax. Liquid beeswax.
Yeah.
I've not seen that before.
Me neither. That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of them, the shorter one that I had done.
Okay.
What are you making, Bob? What is that for?
A vase.
Oh, okay.
This is made by Gillies. It's an Australian company.
I was going to say I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
What is it? Alcohol and beeswax, or?
Honestly, I couldn't tell you.
It's probably got a little bit of an oil in it. That's how it keeps it liquid.
I'm pretty sure it's got lemon oil in it, or a citrus oil, because I can smell a citrusy type of.
But I've got a piece of wood that I had an oops with.
Oh, you made a funnel.
Made a funnel,
yes. Yeah. But no one's going to know that because this is going to be cut down on the side, and that's going to be the base for it.
Oh, okay. Nice.
That's why I left that on the bottom.
I like that you left all that bark in it, too.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, a natural edge, and I love that flare.
Yeah.
Now, I'm debating, I want to take this down some, but if I can make it if I leave it as a bow in there, it's like a bowl and it's sitting in it, or I can take it and flip it over because it goes all the way through. So, because I haven't touched this side, I had trouble mounting it the first time, and then I had to shift it for weight. But it still gives it an interesting base and make the side probably maybe 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch of bark with the sunburst in the middle of it.
Okay.
Are you gonna cut the center out and just fit the recess in there?
Yes,
tenon?
that's why I left the recess here.
Yeah, okay. Makes
Give me
sense.
something. Otherwise, it'll bend this way.
Right.
And I got enough wood down there to do it. I got probably 1/2 inch.
Yeah, even though there's a hole, that's good and thick. That looks like it was chipped out, or was that a catch?
No, it chipped.
Okay.
I had it on the lathe, and I got distracted and hit it, and it hit the floor.
Ah, yep. Been there.
Yep. Because it's a good 1/2 inch. And I thought that would be enough.
Yeah.
So that's tomorrow's project, but not for
Okay.
this one, because the one I was working on earlier, because it's taller. The bigger
Okay.
base for the taller one. Otherwise, this looks a little stupid. The base is bigger.
Okay.
So
Hey, Dark, since we're doing vases here, let me get you the one I showed this to the gang a couple weeks ago. This is the one I just finished, and it's in the same theme as Jay's because the log split, so I had to fill it with resin. So
Oh, nice.
hold on a second.
I like resin. I just think that it's messy.
Yes. Very.
And it wouldn't be so bad if there was a way to, really recycle it other than to use it like filler.
Okay, there it is.
Oh, look at that. Ain't that pretty?
oh yeah.
That's the new Alumilite deep pour, where you don't have to have a pressure pot as long as you're less than 3 inches. And so what I did is this is choke cherry, came out of Commerce Township from one of the members of our club. And I like this because there's an area here where you can see where the log sat in water.
Right. It's multi.
Yeah, it's just a beautiful piece of wood. So
Yeah, it's very nice.
I have some alcohol-based dye, and I tinted it red, but I wanted it see through. I wanted to be able to see through it too.
Yeah.
So I've
You
actually
did
got a
very
lady in Toledo, Ohio, who is interested in this, and I may be selling it by the end of the week.
Nice.
Oh, good.
Even
Yeah, I got another one that I've made. This is out of a vine. All these have been out of a vine.
Okay.
Neighbor had this vine that's been climbing over their house for 50 years.
Yeah, you were talking about that last week. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is wood out of it. This is part of the vine.
That's the kind of vine you see on Cambridge and places like that. They've been growing for so long.
Yeah.
Monsters. Let me get another vase I just did a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, Jay's been working on this one of his for what, 3 months now?
No.
Man, time goes quick for you, Dark.
Yeah, it's that wacky tobacco he smokes.
Oh, I don't smoke, don't smoke that.
He's admitting on live camera anyway.
You put it in candy?
No, I don't do that at all. Can you imagine me on wacky tobacco? Come on now.
He's wacky enough as it is.
Exactly.
Oh.
This is the base of the vine.
Wow.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That is just that's unbelievable to see. It's hard to fathom that.
That's beautiful.
That
wood,
it's a
though.
vine, you know?
Well, fine wood, whatever. It's party.
Well,
Yeah.
technically, according to the tree people here, it's not considered a wood.
Right.
It's stalk or stem.
Yeah. Well, that we talked about that last week too. I've got American smoke wood that I've made some pens out of, and that's not a wood. That's a stem. It's a bush that
Yeah,
grows
and
3 stories tall, and you can only find it in the Pacific Southwest. So here's
I did everything. I got the inside. The line is where I stopped any sealer or finish. It's sanded, but that's so as it can dry out.
Yeah.
Without
So
cracking, and I'm not having any problem with it by leaving that. And what I'll do is I have rock salt that for the winter. I just fill it with rock salt
Oh, okay.
to suck the moisture out.
That'll do it.
That's a good idea.
Yep.
Yeah.
Didn't
That's
affect
works
anything,
well.
but
Okay. This
I
is
dumped the
the
rock
other.
salt in a bucket, shake
Oh,
it
go
up,
ahead, Jay.
and put it
Go ahead, Jay.
again.
This is vine as well.
Oh, wow. That looks almost like English walnut.
It's grapevine.
It's gorgeous.
It is pretty.
Yeah.
I like how dark it is.
And
Yeah.
it's got the trippy pattern on the top there.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Looks almost like marbling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And oops,
Really
it's full. It's full.
It's got
What
gold
you got
in it.
What you got in there? Finials or ferals?
Nah, they're just I'm a sucker for a bargain. I don't know what I'm going to use them for yet, but
Them would make great ferals for small tools.
yeah.
Or if you want to get really artistic, that's great stuff for steampunk. Steampunk is huge.
That's where the
Yeah.
clearance come from, Dr. Bob. That's what those copper things were in this container.
Wow. So if you want to highlight me again, this is a
Yep.
vase I made about 4 weeks ago. This is Catalpa, which is I love it.
What is
Catalpa.
it?
It's
Oh,
called
okay.
Catalpa. It's I don't know if they have it over there or not. It's a tree that grows these long brown pods that have seeds in them.
Okay.
And here in America, we call them Indian cigar pods because the Native Americans used to grind them up and smoke them.
All right.
And I tried that when I was about 16 years old to see what it was like. I don't know how they do that. Oh man, it made me so sick. and you know, I've always been a cigar smoker, so I don't inhale. Oh my God, that was just awful. But this is Catalpa. It's a gorgeous wood, but it's very soft. And
Yeah,
there's actually 5 coats of shellac sanding sealer on this before it stopped sucking it up. And then at that point, I just buffed it with the Beal buffing system.
Yeah.
But the design of it, I can't get my hand down in there, so I'm only that far down in with the sanding and the finishing.
Yep.
And actually, you can't see it.
A stick like Bob, man.
Well, the sanding, I did that with a stick. I got that done. But as far as finishing it, you know, the real finish is the sanding. There's nothing else down there. And like I said, it's basically the Beal buffing system, so it's Carnauba wax.
I think it's Phil from Shady Acres. I think it's Shady Acres.
Yeah, Phil. Mm-hmm.
He has one of those disc wheels with the sanders on it.
Yeah,
That
the Sandaflex. Sandaflex.
That might actually work out all right if you can figure out how to get it out of dowel or something.
Well, you can only, the smallest one you can get is 3 inches.
Yeah, that's
just the wheel itself. That's not including the sandpaper that's sticking off it.
You can probably make one yourself, man. Just take and cut yourself out a disc and you know, saw in little lines and glue yourself some 60 grit, 80 grit, 120 grit, whatever sandpaper you want to use on it.
Yeah. Or like we were talking about earlier, you know, I have a friend that just took a dowel and put the slit in it, put the sandpaper in, and put it in his drill.
Yeah.
I think Phil single-handedly has probably increased the sales of Sandaflex by 50%.
Oh, I bet.
Because everybody asks him where he gets it from and stuff like that. And he just talked about another place where he got refills at a better price than what Sandaflex charges for him. And he said they're actually better quality. And but I love Phil. I love Phil.
He is one heck of a guy, boy.
Yeah. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or as we like to say here at Shady Acres, howdy.
Yeah, well, that's what kind of makes a show a show. You have to have a catch.
Well, and he talks to you while he's turning. He talks to you as though you're standing there.
Yep.
You know, like he's teaching you, and I just really appreciate that. And I love it when he gets something that's kind of stumping him off from the beginning. He goes, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. I don't like it, but I'm going to give it a try.
Right? Yeah. Yeah.
And I like that. I really want to see these guys fail. I really like it when I see them fail, and then explain why they failed. I learn more from that than anything else.
I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jay. I was telling when you're doing videos or something like that, and you make a mistake, show it, because people love that. They love to see you fail, or they love to see how you're going to fix a fail.
Yeah.
So I
that's
never
how you
cut that
learn.
out. If I fail, I fail, and if I can fix it, I can fix it. But I don't ever cut it out, And if I do, I try to explain why and how,
Yeah. Nick Cementi did one. Nick Cementi did one about mid last year where he got a catch and just totally destroyed the hollow form he was turning, and he picked it all up, and he kind of held it all back together, and he explained why that happened. And
the first bowl I turned was here on YouTube, and it was out of a piece of yew wood, and that thing I got it almost finished, and it blew up. And
did you get it too thin?
I don't think I got it too thin. I got that one last cut syndrome.
Oh yeah. We have a thing in our club where you're not allowed to say one last cut.
Yeah.
Because matter of fact, I did that a couple weeks ago. I was working on a bowl, and it came out perfectly fine. And I'm looking at it, and there was still some tool marks in there. I'm still not great with my tools. I'm still working on getting that perfect cut down like Alfred Chambray in our club does. And I'm looking at that, and I'm going, I'm going to take one last cut. And I started in with my gouge, and I got in a position going, nope, I'm not doing that. I sanded it.
Yeah, that's what I should have done. And what had happened was, I had shaped the back of it, flipped it around, and hollowed it, and I had sanded it as much as I could, and then I got to looking at it, and it was a little, I don't know, uneven, I guess, and on the back side of it. So I thought I'd come around to the back again and just try to straighten it out. And when I did, it caught on something, and the bowl just exploded. Oh.
That's just heartbreaking when that happens. Yeah.
And while I was making a video for YouTube, so I put it all together and put it on YouTube the way it was,
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a teachable moment, is what it boils down to.
Yeah.
You always hear people say, just make another one. Wood grows on trees. But you know what? When you got a pretty piece of wood, it's heartbreaking.
I got a couple pieces of real pretty wood here in my closet, believe it or not, that came from the same guy that gave me the yew wood, and my buddy Brad, and I haven't touched it because it's a yellow cedar.
Oh.
And it's about I don't know, about that thick, and it's probably about, I don't know, yay big. So it's gonna be it'll make a pretty. It'll either be a very shallow bowl, or it'll be a platter, I guess.
Okay.
But I didn't want to mess with it until I had more knowledge about what I was doing.
Yeah.
Because
I've never heard of yellow cedar.
Oh,
yeah.
I don't think I can get to it. But
that's okay. You have to show us when you're done with it.
It looks almost white.
Yeah. Now, where did you get yew at? Because
I got it from my buddy Red. He lives out there in God, I want to say it's either Washington or Oregon.
Do we actually have that here in this country?
Must, because that's where it came from.
I didn't know we had any. Because that's all the English guys that I watch online, they're always turning yew.
Oh, it's pretty wood.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
I mean,
yeah.
Even though that bowl shattered, I still saved it.
Yeah.
Because I figured if I really wanted to do something with it, it wasn't ruined to the point where I couldn't still use it for something.
Yeah.
And I figure I'll just clean out my bandsaw and run it through the bandsaw a few times to collect them fine shavings and use it for inlay.
Yeah. Yep.
Make a beautiful inlay.
Oh yeah. I've been turning a lot of elm lately. I have a lot of elm, I had a lot of elm. There's not much left. That's a wonderful wood to work with.
We have a lot of elm right here in Michigan. A lot of it.
Yeah, a lot of it.
A lot of it's already down because of the Dutch elm disease that went
right.
through. You know?
But I'll tell you what, even if it's down, it's gorgeous. But it is a wood. It's like catalpa. You've got to put I use shellac sanding sealer on it because it will suck up the sanding sealer.
I turned a bowl not too long ago, a candy dish bowl, for my daughter out of some Chinese elm, I think it was, and that was beautiful. It's so hard though.
Yeah, Chinese elm is. I don't know why it's hard to compare to the other elms. You know.
Oh.
That's really weird. That is because I've got a boatload of Chinese elm, and all of it that I've turned has been soft, like pine.
Really?
Must be the different climate that it's grown in.
Yeah, climate and soil, maybe.
I don't know. It's hard stuff here.
We have a lot of honey locust here too, and honey locust, man, that's turning granite. Yeah, that's
a mystery wood, man. I got a mystery wood. I got a video on my channel about it. I don't know what it is. It came in. I got it from my cousin, my wife's cousin, and it came as a skid roller. He said it came from South America, and it's, to look at it the way it is right now, it's gray. But when you turn it, it turns the most beautiful purplish brown color. Not like Purple Heart, but like a, oh man, I like almost like a mahogany with purple hints in it.
It could be a type of mahogany because there's lots of different types of mahogany in South America.
Oh, maybe, but this stuff is hard. It's the hardest wood I ever turned. My traditional tools was having a hard time even turning it. I had to go and use carbides on it to get it to turn.
Wow. Well, see, that leads me back to thinking Purple Heart because Purple Heart is like that.
Yeah, the Purple Heart is hard.
Yeah, it's very hard.
But I like Purple Heart because this stuff is even harder than Purple Heart. So I mean, it may be a different species of Purple Heart.
Yeah, it could be. It could be different species. Yep. Let me get a Purple Heart bowl that I just turned. I sold it within 40 hours of turning it. I showed it on Facebook, and a guy called me up. So I'm going to be shipping it out this week. Hold on.
Portal Woodworks has entered the building, and I'm guessing that it was just recently because, Welcome, buddy.
Okay, there it is.
You ought to send them a link to join.
That's South American Purple Heart.
Easy, Jay.
Uh-oh.
I was wondering what you were doing there, buddy. I thought, oh my God.
No, that's Robo taught him how.
So there it is. There's that Purple Heart.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
Nice. That's very nice.
And like I said, within 48 hours of just showing this on Facebook, it was sold.
Oh, I bet.
So it's going out to Hawaii. I have a customer out there who's got a whole bookshelf full of my work. He loves my stuff. So,
do relatives class as customers?
But I got that from a local mill called Armstrong's Mill out in Highland, Michigan. And I was out there with my neighbor, and he was out there to pick up some mahogany. And I just looked over, and this thing was sitting on a cart, and it was a bowl blank. And it was just sitting there, and it had a price tag on it, $29. And I went over to the guy who runs the place and goes, Dennis, is this right? He goes, oh yeah. He said, we don't know where it came from. It just showed up one day. So we threw it in the cart, and we're just letting it go for $29. I goes, okay, sale. There are no cracks in it or anything.
Nice.
But I'll tell you what, I sharpened my gouge a lot. And I have the gouge I used on it is cryo treated. And I still had to sharpen it a lot. You know?
How you going, Dave?
Yeah. What I like best about Purple Heart is that it darkens with heat. So if you put some friction to it, it'll darken up real nice. You could get it almost black.
Well, one of the things I told the customer who bought it is make sure it stays out of sunlight. It'll stay purple longer if it's out of sunlight. And I know where the bookshelf is in his office. It's never going to see sunlight, so that's good. And it's actually this is the Axe finish, the Axe wood polish finish, and then I buffed it with the Beal buffing system.
Yeah, Axe is good stuff, man. I love the Axe stuff.
Yeah, and I buffed it with a Beal. I did white diamond, and then the final step was the Carnauba wax. I wanted the hard Carnauba wax on it. That will help with the keeping it purple too.
The finishing wax has Carnauba wax in it.
It does, but when you're doing the Beal, you're doing pure Carnauba wax. There's nothing else mixed with it. So it puts a nice hard shell on it, and it really protects it from turning brown much longer. So sitting on his shelf, that could be 5-10 years before it turns brown.
Huh.
But that
I've heard wood turning. You know, I'm kind of new at the wood turning thing, so I'm still learning a lot. But I've heard wood turners say they take Purple Heart and set it in the sun to get it to turn purple.
Yeah. I don't like to do that, but the reason they do that because it's not a pure brown; it's a brown purple with a purple haze to it. It's kind of cool. So it's like that, you know, the chatoyance you have when you get the polish just right. That's what that's like. So it has a purple chatoyance to it when the sun hits it. I don't know. I just like the pure purple because it's so uniquely different from any other kind of wood. I have a friend I used to work with. This young lady is a purple fanatic. Everything she's got is purple. Her hair is purple. You know, her keyboard and her mouse at work were purple. She wears purple clothes. So I made her a Purple Heart pen with platinum findings and stuff on it. She just to this day tells me how great that pen is. You know, and that one I did a CA finish on it.
Jay has something purple, but he can't show it on YouTube.
That's Red Tube. Wrong channel, Dark.
Is that for the XXX YouTube?
Yeah, that's it.
You know, Dark, you ought to join the Detroit area wood turners. We have a program for people that are at a distance.
Yeah, friends of the DAW.
Yeah, come on, Dark. Even
we
on
got
a paid
members on what continents now besides ours?
Even I'm a paid member, Dark. Come on.
Yeah, we're an international club now, which is I find very exciting.
Jay and Robo are members.
Yeah.
It may happen.
Who's the other gentleman we were talking to last week about? He's got to join. He's over in the UK.
Paul.
Paul, yeah.
Well, he joined.
He joined. Okay, good. Yes. Good. Cade joined.
Yep.
Canadian.
Yep. The gentleman out in Utah, he hasn't joined yet, but I talked to him, I think last Friday. We just happened to run across each other online, and he said he was heading on over to click on the link and join. Because he's offered to do some demos too.
Yeah.
So.
And
we're an international club. Really exciting. Yep.
The Alaskan, and lives in Hawaii during the winter.
Yep. Because who wants to live in Alaska during the winter?
Nobody wants to live in Alaska.
Although they're generally warmer than we are, which is really funny.
Yes.
No, I can't talk nothing bad about Alaska. Alaska's a beautiful place. It's a real nice place it looks like a real nice place to visit. I don't think I could.
I don't think I would want to be there. It's not a place for the timid.
No.
It really isn't. I've got some friends who have lived there and moved back. And they said it was a great experience, but it's a good place to live if you like the solitary life.
Yeah.
Well, it depends where you live. I lived outside of Fairbanks.
Yeah.
About 20 minutes. And that was in the summer when the roads were open, about 40 minutes to 50 minutes when I had to use a snow machine.
Yeah.
To get in the winter.
But oh, that's gorgeous, Jay.
Hey, Jay.
That's
Yes.
awesome. I really like that.
Hey, what were them little things? Were them just little gems you put in there, or buttons, or what? What was the you epoxied something in there? What was it?
Little flowers, miniature
Oh, yeah.
flowers.
Yeah.
There were red roses and tulips in there, and then white lilies down the bottom there, but they're really hard to see. So
Yep. It's
Really
only it's
good.
what he had, and it really looks good.
No,
It looks great.
I wasn't trying
and
to dog you or nothing. I just couldn't remember what
Yeah.
what was in there.
And I love that grain. That is just unbelievable.
it's got a lot of chatoyance right here, but it's not seeming to come up on the camera too much.
Yeah, chatoyance and cameras don't always mix.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually when you see them on YouTube or on a video or something, usually it's a big area, and you're
Yeah.
seeing flashes. You know.
Well, you know, another trick they do on video, if they want you to see the chatoyance, they'll have a UV light off to the side.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, UV will
Cheaters.
make it explode with
Jay
chatoyance.
has a soft light. You don't get chatoyance off soft light. You got to have a hard light to do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His ring light is soft light.
But it doesn't matter. It's still gorgeous, Jay. It's absolutely gorgeous.
It is.
You did a great job on that.
It's going to annoy me
so-
now trying to get
So
this.
Dark, 2 weeks ago I was on, and he was just starting to work on the inside, and it went flying off the lathe. He
Yeah.
says,
Yeah.
"Okay, I'm going to go work on something else."
Yeah.
He was having a bad day.
Yeah.
And silly me grabbed the same type of wood, didn't I, to work on something else?
Yeah, Blackwood.
Yeah,
You were working with-
Blackwood.
You don't
You
give
were
up.
working with some. You were working with some peppercorn for a while too, weren't you?
Yeah, I've got a boatload of that because I had a like a 20-foot tree chopped down.
Yeah. That was an educational night for me. I didn't know peppercorns grew on trees. I thought they were bushes. So yeah, I learned something.
The farmers might train them to be bushes, maybe.
I know my wife's aunt has a couple maple burls about that big around. I'm gonna try to at some point get them from her.
Uh-huh.
She gave me one of them once, and I couldn't get to it because of where it was at. So I just said I'd come back and get it later, and never did. Because we moved shortly afterwards, but yeah, I need to go get that.
Yeah, Robbo's got he bought a whole heap of burls. I think they're, how you going, Tommy? I think they're eucalyptus bells. I'm not too sure. But he bought nearly a ton's worth of it. And it had to be all forklift off of the truck because they were all huge. And the biggest one he's got is a meter and a bit across. And
send that to me, drop it in an envelope and ship it to me.
Oh, he said when I get there, he's going to put it on the lathe so I can turn it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Then
He's going to be doing lives out of Robo Shop.
And then one of the other guys that I meet on here sometimes, Justin Jupp. He lives about hour's drive from Robbo's, so he's going to come and meet us at Robbo's as well. And he's got some different burl, so we're going to do a bit of a wood swap.
Yep.
You're gonna do a live stream, right?
Yeah.
That'd be great, man. It'd be great to see y'all together
Jay?
having fun.
Yeah.
Hey Jay, is there a way I can send a private chat to Dark?
If you look, can you see the tabs that's got comments
Yes.
and private chat?
Yeah.
Just do it in the private chat.
Yeah, just click on where it says private chat and it'll switch over.
Yeah, I'm on private chat and I'm in the
Yeah.
area where you type in the message. But how do I get it to just Dark?
Oh, you don't?
You'll have to get his email.
Yeah, here, I'll put it in there. I'll put my email address in there.
Oh, okay.
Because he doesn't have Facebook.
Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you my contact information since you're a Michigander.
Oh, I'll have some place to send naked pictures.
There you go.
He's pretty rough around the edges, Jeff.
Aren't we all? we're old enough to be.
No,
He's the
Doug
epitome
just
of a dirty
verbalizes
old
them a lot.
man.
Doc just verbalizes them a lot.
I just don't care. I just,
Yeah.
Well, it
Is
looked
that-
like Santa
Is
Claus
that
gone
zeros
wrong.
or O's?
them are zeros.
How many?
7.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
No, Dark looks like Santa Claus gone wrong.
I'm bad, Santa.
Speaking of which, you want to see a great movie?
But you got the
what-
Christmas kids.
You want to
know
see a
what-
great movie?
You know what Santa
Watch.
wants? He wants a ho ho ho.
If you want to see a great movie, watch the movie Fat Man with Mel Gibson.
Okay.
It's a different take on Santa Claus. It'll blow you away. It's a great movie. So BD. Okay, I got your email. I'll send you an email with my contact information.
Okay.
And you're close. I get out your way, and maybe we'll get together and have a beer or something.
Hey, that could work.
Yeah.
We could get a 6-pack, go down to Vision, throw pennies at the hookers.
There we go. We could run over to Doug at Pole Barn and see him.
Yeah, he's about. Yeah, I'm guessing he's roughly an hour and a half away from me.
Oh, okay, about 2 hours for me.
Where well, maybe you don't want to say, but yeah,
I would shoot
you're
up-
down in Detroit, right?
I'm north of Detroit, so I would have to go down through Detroit on 94 and head up 94 out his way. So it's about 2 hours, because he's just the other side of Battle Creek, I think, or just south, or just east of Battle Creek, or something. East,
I think
southeast?
he's east of it. Yeah,
yeah. So
yeah.
He's part of
Yeah,
the Grand.
I can remember-
He's part of Grand Rapids wood turning.
yeah,
Turners.
Matt Harbor stopped in his shop a couple months ago. So, but yeah, Doug and
I have plans on going out to Doug's this summer sometime. We should probably just talk about it, and I'll meet up there the same day. And
oh, that would be awesome. I love Doug.
you know, while you're confusing Doug, I can be loading the car with wood.
There you go. Maybe we can go for a ride in his Model T, or is it a Model A?
I think it's a Model A.
Model A, yeah.
I
Matt
think.
said he saw it, but he didn't go for a ride in it.
I could be wrong. It could be a T.
I'm thinking it's an A though. It's enclosed.
Well,
I mean, it's enclosed with a hard shell, where the Model Ts were more canvas enclosed.
differences in the spokes. You know,
Yeah.
The way I was told, anyways, it was always the way to tell the difference was the T's had wooden spokes and the A's had metal spokes.
Ah, okay.
So
Well, if we work this out, we'll find out.
right, yeah, and,
I-
and if he gets a flat tire, we can always turn a new wheel for him.
Yeah, there we go. He's another one that does great YouTube videos. He's very entertaining.
Oh yeah, yep.
Yep.
That's,
And he's another
that's
one.
something Kurt and I still have to learn is how to make them interesting enough for people to want to watch them. You know,
Yeah.
I got one basic shot, and that's from overhead. You know, and I can
Yeah.
move my camera a little bit back and forth, but not by much. And
I'm
I don't
working
even know
on-
what I'm getting into here with this new shop. It's
Yeah.
small, so
I am
A
working
lot
on
smaller.
setting up a video studio in my shop. My shop is 10 feet wide by 20 feet long. It's very small. But
sounds
I've
like
got
mine.
I got some webcams. I'm going to set up an overhead, and I'm going to set up a shot from the tail in, and I'm using OBS software. And so I got to start experimenting with it, because I'm doing the demo for the club on the 21st. So
Well, OBS is a decent software to use. It's free. It's free software,
yeah,
and you can do a whole lot with it.
yeah.
But it can be very confusing.
It is, and I'm learning more about it. I spent a lot of time literally just sitting in my chair while the wife was watching TV. I'm sitting in my chair with my laptop, and I got all these cameras aiming at different directions, and I'm playing around with the F keys and stuff like that. So I've
Right.
learned a lot about it. If worse comes to worse, if I don't have it working, I'll just set up my phone and use my phone for everything. Because we've
Yeah.
had people in our club do demos with just their phones, and it comes out really good. But I like the idea.
I used my phone. Well, I used this phone for all the videoing beforehand, and my cat broke it. Well,
Uh-oh.
I say my cat broke it. I actually broke it. But I reached over to pet the cat, and she bit me. And when she bit me, I jumped and bumped the table, and it fell off the mount it was on and broke the screen. And the funny part about that is I don't know how many times I dropped that on concrete, and it never broke.
Right. Hit it just right. Well,
Yeah.
you want my opinion? The cat broke it.
Yeah. It was Dave's fault,
Yeah.
just because.
Yep. So so I'll send you an email.
All right, that's awesome, dude. I appreciate it. Yeah, send me an
That'd be
email.
cool. So, well, listen, it's almost midnight. I'm going to have to sign off because I got to be at the doctor's at 8 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting my eyes checked and getting new glasses. These are going to become my shop glasses because they're all scratched up. So
That's what I got to do next Tuesday at the VA.
Basically, same reason.
But
Same
my
reason.
problem is I'm losing depth perception, so
no,
I'm liable to have my license taken away from me.
Oh, that's not good. That's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, your glasses are
Well,
pretty strong.
I had my car stolen, taken to Utah, and wrecked. And I didn't know it was stolen. I had it in storage, paid storage.
Oh, geez.
And this happened, last July. And now I'm getting bills for storage fees.
Oh, that's crazy. That's just crazy.
And I go back and I say, I got it in storage, and my storage fees I paid for. But the one that's out in Utah, the towing fees, the storage and the disposal fees, I mean, they kept it, and it was like $80 a day. And it was an 02, but it was an 02 Classic, and they were worth about $5,000 still, a Chevy.
Right.
And I'm being sued over it. So I go after the people that had it in storage here, a regular storage unit, storage yard, and come to find out the owner passed away with COVID. And the yard's up for sale.
Oh, my God.
Wow, if it isn't for bed, like you wouldn't have any.
Yeah.
They don't. All the records were in the safe, and they didn't know it. So, and I paid I have mine come out of my bank every month automatically, and it has been, even though it's been stolen from there. But I can't do anything.
You should
with
actually,
somebody that's, not there. They're dead.
I don't know how you could do it now that the man's dead, but there actually should be some kind of a lawsuit you could have against them because you had your car in storage there, and they allowed it to be stolen.
Well, if they're, I imagine they're a corporation, so the lawsuit would be against the corporation. It's either an LLC or an S corp, and they have to have insurance. So you're literally going after the insurance company, is what you're doing. So
Yep, but
my company's an S corporation.
I've talked to people at the VA, their service they have for vets, and they just scratch their head and take the paperwork in and show that I've paid it and I want the money back for the storage, and it's going, the whole thing's up for auction because there's no living relatives that they can find that takes over the yard. And the court has, that's how I found out about it.
But
Second of all, about eight weeks ago, that the storage yard, I have
it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one. That's where you want to get a good lawyer. Technically, under the law, the estate is responsible for any legal issues. And so they would be responsible for this. And literally, the estate wouldn't be affected by it because it's going to be the insurance company that they have their insurance for, because they have to have that place insured. So that's what you'd be going after.
An 02 Chevy isn't worth a lot of money.
No, but
it's
all the other parts of it combined, and it's the inconvenience and the stress that it's causing you. That's what you go after.
Not to mention you lost your car.
Yeah.
You know, that
Yeah,
was supposed to be safe. They were
Now
supposed
I'm liable to next Thursday find that I lose my driver's license.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's too bad.
I hope that's not the case. I hope that's not the case. So
Yeah.
It's just
I really hope not, because man, I tell you
there's
what,
eye surgery they want to do, but they say that it's not very looking good at my age to do it.
yeah.
And I have 4 different types of glasses I wear and switch between because bifocals give me a headache.
And eye surgery is a scary thing as it is.
Yeah,
You know.
I've had cataracts in both eyes. I've had that done.
Yeah.
That wasn't a big problem.
Well, that they almost do production style now.
Yeah.
They've got it
And
down.
it was done from the Kresge Eye Institute. You can't beat that
Yep. Yep. Exactly. Yep.
because they're connected to the VA in Detroit.
Yeah. Have a lot of respect for the Kresge Eye Institute.
Oh, yeah. And I knew Stan Kresge as a kid.
Yeah. Actually,
We
my
went to the
son
same
John.
church together.
My son John, I was mentioning last week that he's adopted, and he had a they don't want to call it a seizure, but just short of 5 years old, he had an episode, and so he was in Mott's Children's Hospital for a week. And one of the things that they did is they took him over to the Kresge Eye Institute, and they did images of the inside of his eyes, of the retina, and they found all kinds of scarring and stuff that they said came in the womb. And I was just so impressed with those people. It was just unbelievable. Just so impressed with them. I have a lot of respect for them.
Yeah,
So,
I do too.
so I'm glad you're dealing with them, because if anybody can help you, they can. Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
I was the
I had the
first
same
to have
feelings with
the muscle surgery on my eye, on my right eye, 3 years old, here in Detroit at Bon Secours. And there it was my father and mother decided that they were going to gamble with it because a member of our church in Detroit, Jefferson Avenue Methodist, Methodists always have potlucks on Wednesday. It's a tradition.
Yeah.
And he was a new person in the neighborhood, and he was German, and he spoke English, but he saw me running around, and the only way I could walk is with a patch over one eye, because they went separate, like a lizard. I could close one eye and whatever, and I couldn't walk. I had no balance unless they had a patch. And they were seriously considering taking the eye out and putting a glass eye in when I got 4 years old.
Wow.
And this guy said, no, I know how to fix that. And they didn't know what was going on, so they went down to see him in Detroit at Bon Secours. They're on Jefferson, and went and had a person. He spoke German, but he had an English translator for some of the stuff. But he did conversational easy, and he was teaching at Bon Secours, and he supervised. He wasn't allowed to touch me because he was one of our fines from Nazi prison camps. He was the head surgeon that was just doing nothing but eye work, eye transplants, everything Hitler wanted to do. He was the person, and because he knew so much about the eyes, he was one of the good pieces that was, brought back here.
Yeah.
Engineers, rocket scientists, doctors, and the doctors they brought back all came from prison camps.
Oh, yeah.
But because of that, Truman had said the doctors can't touch any medical equipment other than showing it and demonstrating to students, but not near a patient. And the closest they could get to a patient was 3 feet if they were in surgery. Though later, when I didn't know about this and that he was one of them, he had his name changed to Pino, until I had to go to the Kresge Eye Institute the VA sent me there, and they looked in my eyes, and because their doctors treat us in the VA itself, they have their own offices there in Detroit, and they noticed that I'd had surgery, and they called in because it's a teaching hospital. They called in the head muckety muck for surgery years ago and looked at it, my eye, and they said, I know about this eye. And about a year and a half later, I go back in for an eye exam because I have to have one yearly. The prescriptions change so much that I go in, and the head of the Kresge people call me in, and we sit and talk, and he said, and your name is, and we got talking, and he had the records, and he pulled this book out, a textbook that was written by him. And it was only used for teaching at the Bon Secours. That's where the Eye Institute was. Or it wasn't even that. It was the specialist. And he was the person who was teaching it. And the doctor that looked at my eyes at the VA, who was in charge of the whole eye clinic for the VA as far as surgery and work, he recognized me when I told him what it was, and I just had a patient number, 1, in the book. And he had me autograph the book.
Oh, awesome.
On patient 1. And they recognized, because they talked about, and he was there as an intern when it was happening. And he was gray beard and everything like us when this happened about 20 years ago at the VA.
Yeah. That's cool.
And he said, you're the patient. And he said, I stood there and watched. And I said, he didn't touch me? We were afraid to. But we could never, we wouldn't, we all lied. Because it had us scared to do what he was doing. And he'd done it with pigs. And that's what they train on, is pigs.
Yeah.
Because the eye is very similar in muscle structure. But then I found out that Pino himself is the one that did the eye surgery. And they did 3 of them. They got the eye moved down with some muscles, and it was too much. And then the next at 4. And then a year later, at almost 5.5, they finally got them together. But I can do this, and I think they're equal. But I can see on the monitor it's not.
Right.
Right now, when I look with my eyes closed, I know they're not.
Yeah. Interesting.
But somewhere in here is where I can tell.
There you go. Yep. Interesting.
But I'd swear that they would touch. I would gamble they would. Way out.
Yeah.
Well, kids, I'm going to say goodnight to you. I got to get up tomorrow and take my wife.
I got to go
the
too.
doctor.
So.
Yep. I was going to say.
Give me a day or 2, Dark, and I'll get you that email. Gentlemen, take care. We'll see you next week.
Thank you for coming in.
Yep.
Jay, beautiful vase.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Yes, fantastic. You need to do a demo for our club sometime. You're a member.
That's Benny Hill. That's Benny Hill. Remember him?
Yeah.
I love Benny.
I did too. He was
so
Robo's going to do a demo.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let Robo do it. I'll just watch.
Yeah, Dark, we'd love to have you as a member.
I will contemplate it.
At the very least, I'll send you the email, and I will send you a link so you can join us as a guest at our next meeting. Okay, that might be cool. Can I come naked? You sure? I won't highlight you, but you. I'm actually doing the demo. I'm actually doing the demo at the club this time.
You can have a green screen, Dark.
What? Oh yeah. I just read my body in it.
Yeah.
Okay. Good night, gentlemen.
Good night. Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Oh, it's chilly out here.